It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, April the 29th. Let me tell you a little something about myself.
Yeah.
I'm a basketball guy.
Yeah, you are.
I have been for a long time. And last night, the Phoenix Suns got Timberwolves struck. How about the Minnesota Timberwolves, for the first time in 20 years, winning a playoff series emphatically 4-0?
Yeah.
I'm Steve. Hi, I'm a hoops fanatic. Thanks for welcoming me to your meeting. I tell you what, I moved to Minnesota at the right time, ladies and gentlemen, because I am on a Timberwolves bender right now.
I tell you, you are the suddenly the most popular kid at the party because everybody's going, oh, wait a second, Steve, now who do they play next? What happens? What's going on? And I actually blew out my knee trying to jump on the bandwagon last night.
You, like head coach Chris Finch, doing whatever it takes to motivate this team. Okay, Timberwolves, in case you're just waking up and went to bed early, like any normal sane person that has our hours would do, they swept the Suns last night. Kevin Durant, thanks for your service. See you later. Bradley Beal, you suck. Devin Booker, nice effort. The Suns were built to fall apart in the first round. That's not a surprise. But the Timberwolves going on the road, this young team going on the road, winning 2 in Phoenix, sweeping the Suns out. It is a statement game in a statement series that this team is absolutely for real. And I get it, Timberwolves fans. It's a long wander through the desert. But I'm here to tell you, as the guy who's only been in town for about a year and a half, with a little bit of perspective on it, this team is an absolute monster in its first iteration. The next 5-6 years going to be fantastic around here. And head coach Chris Finch, with about a minute and a half in the game, Kevin Conley gets shoved by Devin Booker into the bench. He runs into his own head coach and blows out a tendon in his knee.
Oh, man.
Chris Finch taking a hit. What does the team need as they're most likely, barring some sort of miraculous collapse? What are we going to do in round 2 against the Denver Nuggets, the odds-on favorite to win the title and repeat? Well, I don't know. Maybe we need our coach to get injured and piss us off even more.
Did you hear that, O'Connell? Baldelli? You see what needs to be done here to take the team over the top? All right, Steve, let's lean into you here a little bit for those of us waking up this morning going, what? Timberwolves? Hey, maybe this will be fun to watch this the playoff run, and it has been fun so far. What's next for the Timberwolves? What happens now?
Well, the Denver Nuggets have to have one more game with the Lakers. They should beat them at home, and it'll be a 5-game series. They could have swept them. Lakers pulled one out at home. So they have to play the Nuggets because on that final day of the season, things went awry. The OKC Thunder ended up with the top seed in the West. All this to say, T-Wolves are number 3, Denver's number 2. They're playing each other in the second round. It's too bad because I think that's the 2 teams with the best chance to go to the finals. I don't think a sane person's going to bet on the Timberwolves to win this series, but it is no longer like a done deal that Denver is the best team in the league, but they don't have the depth that Minnesota has. If Denver has one starter injured, and like all playoffs and all sports, it's a war of attrition. If Denver loses anybody to an injury, then this is an even series or even swings the Timberwolves' way. Right now, all I'm saying is this. For what the Wolves just did last night in Phoenix on the road, with Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man, stepping up and having that kind of signature game that young superstars have to have when it matters in a closeout game. That's where legends are made. That's where legends are born. All that crap that we talk about looking back in hindsight, that all happened last night. And 15 years from now, we'll look back at last night and go, that's when we knew that Edwards was ready to take the leap. And, all the comparisons physically and mindset that people make to a young Michael Jordan. No one's saying Ant's going to be the greatest of all time. But when you see Jordan at 23, you look at Ant at 22, and you go, hey, there's a lot of common DNA there. Last night it was on display. So here's what I'm saying. Long-suffering Timberwolves fans, get over it. Team's real, and they're good, and they're deep, and they're very, very, very well coached, and they're big as hell. And it's going to be very difficult for Denver to beat them 4 times. Denver's the favorite in this next series. again, assuming both teams are healthy, but it's going to be an absolute war, and I can't wait.
Yeah, to what you're talking about with Edwards, he seemed like in that second half, and I fell asleep during it, and I got up this morning and watched the highlights to it, but it seemed like, and what he was talking about after the game, when you talk about your Jordans or your Bryants or your Currys or your James or these guys that take over, he said he dished the ball around in the first half and they sort of piddled along in the second half. He said, I had to take my shots, and he came out, scored 30 in the second half of his 40, and wins the game.
The great players, Jordan, LeBron, Magic, Kobe, whoever your greatest players ever are, they don't have great games every game. What they have is a fifth gear that no one else has, and when they can go to a place on occasion where they leave everyone behind. And that's what we saw Edwards do last night. In case you can't tell, I am jacked about this team. I'm in the right town at the right time. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the present. And again, long-suffering Timberwolves fans, your patience is paying off right now. If you're not on board yet, my God, get there, because this team is fantastic.
I'm happy you're here, Steve, for this, because I'm not a huge basketball girl, but I am a huge Minnesota sports fan person. So this is very cool and very exciting.
If I can bring Candace Wheeler to the Timberwolves, my God, I can bring everyone to the Timberwolves. Let's do it.
He's bringing us to the Timberwolves this morning. We got a lot going on. We have concert tickets to give away this morning. We have 2 guests. We'll get into that. We'll talk all about it here about 6:17. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Monday, April the 29th. If you, like me, are wondering, I wonder what's going on the morning show this morning, because I have questions. And
me too. I'd love to know.
I have very poor short-term memory. So
really?
With it right in front of me, here we go. At 8 o'clock, Brittany Spanos from Rolling Stone is calling in. Brittany Spanos is a senior writer at Rolling Stone. She's got a podcast called Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time, which exists just to piss us all off. And we're going to talk to her about this and every other list they make, which, as I said, exists to piss us off.
Right, exactly. It always gets me fired up. Listen, 20 through 500, fine. Throw whatever you want in there. It gets into that top 10, it starts getting personal.
Yeah, and that's why we want to talk to her about that. In about 40 minutes, 7-ish, we're going to let you know the winners of the KQRS Minnesota's Bestest. By far the most votes we've ever had. Thank you to all of our listeners who got online and voted. Yeah. We will be giving you some information. And at 7:30, I don't want to spoil it, so I'll just say this. The funniest local comedian will be on this show at 7:30. Oh, and you're going to love hearing from him or her. Watch it. Watch it.
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm already peeking ahead. I'm looking, and 1, 2, 3, right off the top, all my votes.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
I feel like I influenced this. I'm in the pipeline of what's popular in Minnesota.
You're a winner, Brian.
Nope, there's a loser.
And a little after 8, like say 8:20, 8:30-ish, we're going to give away Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo tickets because that's how cool we are. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Pat and Neil, they come as a package. They're a duo, but they're appearing with BTO and Berlin.
Oh, Berlin. What was the Berlin song?
Riding on the Metro of Love. There was Metro, and then there was...
wasn't there like a Top Gun power ballad or something? There was some big blockbuster.
There sure was. Yeah, there absolutely was. And it'll come to me after we move on. Because that's how that works.
Honestly, I would die to see BTO, though. That would be awesome.
By the way, Top Gun 3 got greenlit. How old? When do they phase out fighter pilots? Tom Cruise is in his 60s.
They phase out fighter pilots when Delta Airlines offers them a lot of money.
That's exactly what it is.
That's what they phase them out.
I knew it was something like that.
Oh yeah, I don't know. He's milking it. But obviously, after Maverick was brought the theaters out of the pandemic and was a blockbuster, they're going to put another one together. But
sure.
Yeah, and of course he's going to have to be in the cockpit, man. He's Tom Cruise.
That's how that works. Yeah. What if they did it? What if they did Top Gun 3 and literally Cruise did the whole film from behind a desk? Like he was just the top guy and he just sat there, never stood up, didn't get to run anywhere, didn't ride a motorcycle.
Right. No.
You know what? I'd still go.
just to see those damn
some
jets.
of this cool jet. Yeah. Why don't you guys go attack some unnamed country?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Just make it look cool.
Just make it look cool. Hey, quick question. Have you ever been the guy who crashed too long, or have you ever had someone crash at your place too long? Especially as we enter young adulthood, a lot of breakups, a lot of people suddenly find themselves homeless. And I'm the kind of person who has, on more than one occasion, said to someone who was in a bad spot, yeah, just come crash with us. And every time I did that, I made the mistake of not talking to Rosemary first. And so people show up and they're like, babe, they're going to, come on, look at him. Yeah. Look at him.
Just a day or two.
One time I did say it's 2 weeks tops.
Yeah.
And that was about 3 weeks. The last 3 weeks, the last 19 days of which were hell.
Yeah.
Real mistake. Big mistake.
Yeah, I'm living out in the middle of South Dakota. That's what it has to devolve into that eventually. I've been that guy, kind of, just to some point where about 3 months later, they're like, dude, if you're going to keep, laying around.
Oh, you were the guy.
I was the guy once. I got bounced out of college, a complete misunderstanding. Mm-hmm. Ended up on a couch and thought, just a couple of weeks, let me find a job. 3 months later, they're like, yeah, find a job and start paying rent. But I had a buddy move into town, just got married, maybe only married about a month, and a buddy's moving to town, and he has a family, but the family will be following in about a month. He's like, man, I just need a place to crash for a couple of weeks while I get the job started. Absolutely. Come on in, man. 6 months later, by the way, we found out that he was getting a divorce. He left his family.
Yeah.
They were never coming. And after about a month, it was like, oh, yeah, you got a place? He's like, well, still looking, kind of getting our ducks in a row. And then 2 months later, I'm getting a look from the new bride, like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
And finally, I take him out. We're having a couple of beers. He's like, oh, yeah. He goes, I'm basically getting a divorce, man. I'm like, okay, that sucks for you. But what's the plan about moving out of the house so I don't get a divorce?
Yeah, right. Let's not tag team.
He didn't have one, and it went on agonizingly long until it got ugly, and it was like I had to move his stuff out onto the porch and say, yeah, you're not allowed in the house. We changed the locks, the whole thing. Yeah, you're not allowed in the house. And to this day, we've never spoken again.
That was it?
Never spoke to Bill again. That was the end of it. I mean, it just kept going till it turned into a screaming match. I'm like, dude, it's been 6 months. You got to get the F out.
I don't need to kick a man who was once certainly down, but that's all on him.
Yeah.
You did your job.
No,
you did your job as a dude.
And it just, so it was about 4 months of being super uncomfortable. It was bad.
Two of the worst ones I've experienced were both very, very short term. And one was, I remember I was on the road at the end of '96. Last gig of the tour was in Vegas, and our T-shirt guy worked for the band for years. Dear friend of mine to this day. Yeah. He'd gone through a really rough breakup, and we were talking about it. And holidays, this is December, like Christmas is coming up. He was going to be in North Carolina seeing family. I'm in Atlanta. I said, dude, just come hang with us for a few days. Just don't get stuck at your parents' house. Big mistake. He showed up at the house, and he's like, makes no bones about it. He's just devastated. His heart has been ripped from his innards. And the first morning, like, he comes in, good to see you. We go out and go to a bar, have a couple beers, talking about get home. Couch is on, he's fold out the couch, put him down. He's in the den.
Whatever you need.
Me and Rosemary go back to bed. Wake up in the morning at 8 a.m. at a time when that just didn't happen. And I hear a Junior Brown song. I want to hear it from you loudly from the stereo. And the first line is like, if our love is through. And I'm like, what am I hearing? And I'm like, oh my God, he's listening to sad country music. And I walk in there and he's just like crying. I'm like, dude, turn the stereo down. You're in someone else's house. It went on for like 3 or 4 days. It was brutal.
Yeah.
And then the other one was when I was the guy, and this was literally it was a one day. I almost ruined a friendship.
How can you wear out your welcome in one day?
I'll tell you. Mac Dorton, who, I think he's the mayor of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, as we speak. Or he just lives there and he's from there. But a great friend of mine.
Yeah.
He's not the mayor. Mac was a longtime JFK, not a conspiracy nut, but very, very interested in the JFK assassination.
All right.
1988, which feels like 55 years ago, was the 25th anniversary. And CBS... From the moment they first broke in real time on November 22nd, 1963, Cronkite comes on, or on the 25th anniversary, they replayed their whole day. They went live as if it was live. They just for like 12 hours, you were watching 25-year-old CBS coverage. And my friend Mac had told everybody, I'm unplugging my phone. Don't come to the apartment. I'm digging in. He'd been waiting his whole life for this.
Right.
And we all knew it. Everybody knew it. He's not available.
Yeah.
I went to see a friend's album release party with an open bar that evening. Open bar.
What could possibly go wrong?
And I got dropped off at Max after already having thrown up on a police car. True story. That's how drunk I was. It's 8 p.m. I am 17 sheets to the wind, and I'm banging on his door. And I'm like, I'm going back. Sorry, I got to crash. I had nowhere to go. I was like Richard Gere and officers. I got nowhere to go. And he opened his door, and I ran past him and hurled. I destroyed his bathroom. And you've never seen anyone angrier and more hateful in your life.
Yeah.
And Mac, if you're listening, I apologize. All these years later. I got up the next morning, worst hangover ever. He was like, he just pulled the door open, like, go. Just get the hell out. I couldn't talk to him for a week.
You ruined his Christmas, man.
That was it.
I mean, that was everything for him.
JF Christmas. That was it.
Well, I mean, we're going to cook along here. We've got sports and music history coming up. We've got Mike Evans' Hollywood Report. But now I'm thinking about those that have overstayed their welcome. Almost everyone. I was just out at the farm this weekend, and it came up. We had a weird family cruising through South Dakota that had some weird relation to Dad. He'd never met him, and they had an alligator, and they ended up staying for about 3 weeks.
Well, yeah, sure.
It got weird.
You can't kick someone out with an alligator.
No, you can't.
That thing will turn on you.
Broke our little plastic pool on the first day. All right, unwanted guests. We're going to circle back to this. We have Mike Evans' Hollywood Report coming. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Did I mention the Timberwolves are awesome? But right now, it's time to head west for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Good morning, Steve and Candace, Sepp. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I got to tell you, man, I've been betting on the Timberwolves all year long, and I just keep making money, and I plan to make more money the next series. I'm excited about them Timberwolves. I'm also excited that tomorrow's Tuesday. And, you know, every Tuesday, Marcus Theaters, $6 gets you in to see any movie at any Marcus Theaters. Marcus Theaters, the best. Little legal beagle updates. You know, we talked about this on Friday. Harvey Weinstein will get a retrial in New York. Word is he tried to get one in California, but it was denied. However, on Friday, R. Kelly's 27-year sentence for sexual abuse was upheld. We also know now that O.J. Simpson's official cause of death was prostate cancer, but adding to that, it was also combined with being a lying, cheating murderer.
Oh.
That according to Fred Goldman, when Fred Goldman heard of O.J.'s passing and asked his opinion. Movie news. You know, I know it was a widely popular movie franchise, and everybody loved the television series Police Squad, but do we really need another Naked Gun movie? Really? Well, we're going to get one. It'll star Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson and will drop in theaters on July 18th, 2025, including Marcus Theaters, of course. You know, Pamela Anderson is one of the sweetest people in Hollywood. I just love her. And I saw Pamela at the Parker Resort in Palm Springs about a year ago without any makeup. I didn't recognize her. I mean, the sexy, hot Pamela Anderson. Well, she looks all of her 55 years, and we all get old, but she's still the sweetie. TV news, the biggest television secret is a Netflix comedy series called The Four Seasons that stars Steve Carell and Tina Fey that's been shooting for the last few weeks in New York. Now, here's the scoop. Netflix was in a huge bidding war with several other streaming formats for this show. It's supposed to be fabulous. And I was able to find out that some writers from 30 Rock, Saturday Night Live, and The Office are attached to this new series, The Four Seasons. When I find out more, I'll let you know. Survivor always gets great ratings and are currently airing their 46th season on CBS. Jesus. And is it true their 50th season, all of the Survivor contestants will be former contestants? Another reason that I really don't care for Disney, can't stand them. So here's the deal. Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse and Goofy and Donald Duck and all the other characters who dress up to greet the visitors at the theme parks, along with all the dancers at the theme parks, they've all been asked to be added to the Actors Equity Union for better pay. But from what I understand, Disney is fighting it every inch of the way. Also, I hear that Disney is going to raise admission prices to their theme parks again, while bragging that they're going to spend $1 billion on their theme parks over the next 2 or 3 years. and still are balking at paying their employees, some of the characters, more money. Yeah. Walt and Roy Disney's got to be spinning in their graves. Hey, have a great day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Mike Evans, see ya.
Well, except for his head. Didn't they freeze that? Didn't they freeze Walt? Wasn't that his big deal?
Sounds about right.
He was
sounds
kind of
about
into that. And that is a shame when the Hollywood hotties lose their hotness. Thank goodness she retained her sweet nature. But the wrinkles, have you seen the wrinkles?
Man.
Hide your face in shame, Pamela Anderson.
Thinking getting older. Let's look back. How about that? On this day in 2007, the New England Patriots literally stole Randy Moss from the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, they did.
For a 4th-round draft pick, if you can imagine. Okay, Moss, with the Vikings, pretty much showed everybody, no one can touch me.
From day one.
Goes to the Raiders, had very little success. And the Raiders, of all people, thought, well, he's not worth much. The Raiders are always going to Raider.
Yeah. Did you time his 40? Did you put the watch on him?
Did you check your own quarterback out?
Yeah.
So anyway, for a 4th-round pick, he goes to New England, where he then sets an NFL record 23 touchdowns in 2007 with Tom Brady. The best part of that was after their regular season game, he caught both his 22nd and 23rd touchdowns of the year, passing Jerry Rice's single-season record. What Randy Moss said was, I don't think breaking Jerry Rice's record is special. I think shutting up you guys is what made it special to the media. That's hilarious. I'm sorry.
Tom Brady in a documentary years later said, of course, we had a lot of great receivers play for New England through all those 6 Super Bowls. He said, but Randy Moss is the only guy, college, high school, professional level, I ever just threw the ball thinking, I don't know what's going to, I'm just going to throw it. He's in double coverage. I'm just going to throw it.
Robert Smith, friend of this show, good friend of mine for many years, and a Viking legend, told me many times about the first rookie camp with Randy Moss. He said day one on the field, all the veterans just shared a look saying, we've never seen anything like this. And all the rookie hazing, like, hey, kid, carry my luggage, all that, they didn't do it to him. He said none of us could bring ourselves to treat him like a rookie. We'd never seen anybody like him.
Yeah, it was game 2, I believe, or something like that. I forget who they were playing. It was their first home opener of the season, his rookie season. And he's going down the middle of the field, and he grabs a pass. And, you see NFL players all the time leap over people. Right. You see it all the time. He hurdled them like Nehemiah going over a hurdle. I mean, he just did that step thing.
Yep.
They never knew what, and never broke stride.
Completely different. Completely different from everybody, Randy Moss.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, April the 29th. Your Minnesota Timberwolves are in the second round of the NBA playoffs. They will almost assuredly play the defending champion Denver Nuggets, who just need to eliminate those pesky Los Angeles Lakers. And I imagine they will do that. Game 5 of that series is tonight or tomorrow. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. I think it's tonight in Denver. The Nuggets are your odds-on favorite to win the title. That would be their second in a row. But I guarantee you the Wolves will give them all they want to deal with. The Timberwolves are for real this year, and it's thrilling to watch.
You're that one friend that everyone has that pays attention to NBA basketball.
Yep.
So, I mean, would it be a huge upset if they ended up beating the Nuggets here?
It would be an upset. It wouldn't. I don't think you could say it's a huge upset, only because you're talking about the second seed losing to the third seed after the regular season. But the Nuggets have, without any doubt in my mind, the best player in the world right now. Jokic is just on a whole other plane.
Right.
Jokic is already at Bird Magic level. I mean, he really is. He's there on the all-time list. And it's just a matter of how long does he stay at that level where he's playing right now. He is the straw that you can stir any. You put him on any team, and that team is a contender overnight because he just makes everybody around him that much better. The Nuggets are deep, they're young, and they have an ascendant superstar who will be doing his best to say, "No, I'm the best player on the court." Not too many people can get on a court with Nikola Jokic and not be laughed at for that suggestion, but Ant-Man's one of them, and certainly I guarantee you, he is now the best 22-year-old basketball player on planet Earth.
Right. Well,
he's taken the lead.
Sounds like a fun series to watch, man.
It's going to be an absolute battle royale. I do believe the Target Center will be rocking for games 3 and 4 when they come here in that series. Let's see what else. We're talking about friends crashing with us, or we're talking about us crashing with friends. These things happen. Zepp told the story already of almost a buddy shows up, crashes, finally comes clean. I'm getting divorced, which almost led to your divorce.
Yeah, it lasted 6 months, and it was one of those
6 months.
And you really want to be understanding with the guy. And of course, once he says he's going through a divorce and he lays down his version of the story, a real sob story, even gets my new bride at the time on his side. So he's bought himself some time. But then it lingers, and there's the drinking. And because he's going through a divorce, that's what guys do. They crash hard. They go to the bars. They just start whipping it up. I get sucked into it a little bit. I'm like, yeah, sure. I know it's noon.
Well, sure.
I'll go out and have a couple with you. Yeah. He's going through a tough time. You understand? So now we're both rolling home drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning. And this goes on for 6 months with a month of, you got to get the hell out of here, to screaming, dude, to me moving his stuff out and changing the locks. And, we'd come home and he would have taken one of our cars, and he's just gone for a day. Or he went away for the weekend. Yeah, it turned into a real kind of like a movie scenario psycho situation.
Yeah.
And that was pretty egregious. I've never had anything else like that. I've overstayed my welcome, I'm sure, a couple of times. Had a couple of buddies. I had a buddy that would go through a devastating breakup every time he broke up with a woman, and all they had to do was go on one date. They'd go on, I'm like, how was it? It was like, oh, it's pretty good. I'm going to go see her again. And then pretty soon he's at my door crying. I'm like, what's the matter? She doesn't want to see me anymore. I'm like, who cares? But anyway.
Yeah. Well, these things happen.
He was just a head case, and he just would crash for the night. But
in a poll with many, many, many people weighing in, 6% of people said they wouldn't allow anyone to stay with them at all.
Policy.
22% said up to a week. That's it. A week is the most popular answer. How long would you let someone crash without a lot of advance notice? Like this: I'm out, she kicked me out, or he kicked me out, and I need a place to crash. 22% of the people polled said they'd let you stay up to a week. 1% said, yeah, up to a year.
A year.
Wow. 9% of people, however, said they would put it as indefinitely, as long as it takes.
And you would have to be that good guest, the guest that not only cleans up, but you cook all the day.
Yep.
You come, in other words, your friends come home and like, hey, look, I cooked dinner for everyone.
The only way to make it work is for when you do leave, they actually miss you.
Yeah, right.
That's to be your goal. I have to be missed when this is all said and done. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talking text line. Candace, do we have a caller?
Jeff from Richfield.
Jeff, good morning, brother.
Good morning, all.
What's happening, man?
How was the weekend?
It was fantastic.
Not just Steve. I'm talking to everybody.
All right, Jeff. Are you looking for a place to crash right now?
Is this?
No, but Brian, you probably remember. Do you remember the 81 snowstorm where like the city's got 17 and 18 inches on consecutive days?
You mean 91?
Yeah, 91.
The 91?
Jeff, come on,
not
man.
the Halloween.
Okay, but way back in 1981. Well, 81, I would have been stuck out in the middle of South Dakota. Probably a blizzard, I recall. We had them all the time out there. But yeah, 81, big snow. What's up?
So I'm up at UMD, and I'm in the stay apartments, and I had this friend. I don't even know if I want to say his name, but
it's just us.
Let's call him Jeff.
Well, we start out the day by pushing a car like 4 miles to get LSD.
Okay.
No.
Why did you need the car to get the LSD? Why not just walk in? All right, I'm asking too many questions. So you're pushing a car 4 miles through the snow.
You mean you pushed a car 4 miles to get more LSD?
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, well, we were on like 2 hits of Green Pyramid. Me and Brett. His name was Brett. He was a hockey player from Anoka. I don't really want to say his last name.
Hall. Go ahead.
But so he's like flipping out, and he drags us outside. We were clothed, but we were probably in shorts and a t-shirt, and it's like a blinding blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
And we get lost about 20 feet from the door. And I don't know. We're wandering around out there. We find this lady driving the station wagon, and he flags her down. We show her our IDs, student IDs, and she was freaking out. But we weren't going to do anything, and that wasn't our intent. And then I had another instance with him, and this was the one that I said enough is enough. We transferred down the U and joined a frat that was like the Animal House frat on campus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
came home one night, and he's like passed out in the bathroom naked, no clothes, no key, no nothing.
Sounds
Never
about
could
right.
figure out how he got in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, he greased himself up and came down through the chimney naked, obviously.
and then I was at the Eagles concert when Joe Walsh fell off the stage. And,
Okay,
and
well, did Joe
you'll
Walsh
know better
crash
than
at your
anybody.
place after?
But that?
Did Joe Walsh crash at your place after?
No, I wish he had. But
Yeah, that
You know,
would
they say,
they knew something was going down because they had someone they brought out right away. As soon as he fell off the stage, he broke his arm, I think.
Yeah, they're just like they pulled somebody off the
happened.
sideline. They had another guitar player back there in the wings.
Sure.
Jeff, they say that with acid, sometimes if you do too much, it has lingering effects. It can stay with you for the rest of your life. Kind of creates a scatterbrained communication pattern. Have you ever been accused of that?
It didn't happen to me, and I like to say, I told Candace the other day, I like to say that I've done as much LSD as Jim Morrison.
Well, you've had a much longer opportunity, so don't get too ahead of yourself. Jeff, thanks for the call, brother. We appreciate it. Did he say Green Pyramid? Was
Green
that what it was? The Green Pyramid.
Yeah, the Green Pyramid.
Yeah, I like that
That's
one.
a fun name, yeah.
Wow.
He gets a pass because he's from Richfield.
Right, and not a half tab, like you might do to tiptoe into it. Two.
No.
He had two.
No, I like pushing a car to go get acid as opposed to just walking.
Right, let's just walk, leave the car.
We're going to need this car to drive home while tripping balls. That's what that was all about.
Right, yeah.
My favorite acid story, I'm sad to say, doesn't involve me at all, but my brother, Tom and a buddy, this is like 70 or 71, and I've heard this story from Tom and his friend over my life a dozen times, and every time it's the funniest thing ever. And like I always say, if this needs to be in a movie or a TV show, like this scene needs to be included. Tom and his buddy, like high school kids, tripping nuts one night on a Friday afternoon, Friday evening. They're doing some acid, and Tom's friend, his mom was a day drinker, an alcoholic in a bad way, a very high functioning, rampant early 70s drinker, like a lot of people, and so they were at the house and they asked, they said, his buddy Kurt goes, "Hey mom, can you run us to Tom's house? Can you give us a ride to Tom's house?" And she's like, "Sure." Load up the car. They load up the car, and she drives them about 3 miles to our house. They hop out of the back seat, and they realize she's going to leave here and go to the liquor store before going back home.
Yeah.
So they hitchhike.
She's an alcoholic.
So they hitchhike immediately right back to to where they started, to his buddy's house. And the mom shows up 20 minutes later from the liquor store, walks in the front door of the house, and they're standing there and they go, "Are we ready to go?" And she looks at them and she just goes, "Yeah, let's go, guys." It's like she's confused. Doesn't say, "Didn't I just take you there?" Does not say it. And then they get in the car and she takes them back to the Gorman house again. And the fact that they pulled that off while tripping, and he said they're laughing hysterically, but she never said a word about it because she was just like, "Oh my God, I thought I already did this." But that's where she was, and that's where they were. I wish that was my story.
That's a brilliant story, and you think that might have been maybe a sign to her, a rock bottom.
Could have been.
Perhaps off the treatment for her, but no, that was...
Could have been.
Back then, that was totally acceptable to be a functioning alcoholic, as long as you were functioning.
Well, that's the key.
Yeah.
It's all about the functionality. Here's a pretty great thing. The KQRS on the website for the last couple of weeks, we were looking for people to vote on the bestest of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. The bestest of Minnesota. The results are in. First and foremost, far more votes than we've ever gotten for this. So thank you to all the listeners who got on the website and let us know what you think the bestest are. We are now legally we've gotten the green light to share some of the winners with you. Let's just start at the top. The bestest Juicy Lucy. Okay, here were your 5 nominees. Blue Door Pub, multiple locations. Matt's, the 5-8 Club, multiple. The Nook, and Lucy's Burgers in Blaine. Mm-hmm. Those were your 5 best Juicy Lucy. I know what I thought should have won. I was there on Friday. And guess who was also there on Friday?
Was it any of the Pawn Star guys?
No, that wasn't the Pawn Star guys.
That was the night before.
It was it Thursday? Oh, no, they were there Thursday. They were there Thursday. Rosemary, myself, and Candace Wheeler. On Friday, all got together at Matt's for a Juicy Lucy.
Don't expose me, Steve.
Oh, you are exposed, woman.
Yeah.
And Matt's is your winner. They have taken the best Juicy Lucy for the bestest.
I agree.
Often considered the original, but that could get you into a fight in South Minneapolis because the 5'8 Club, they retain some claim to that as well. It goes back and forth. So one of the originals should have won it. Matt's, that was my first Juicy Lucy, and I didn't even know there was a Juicy Lucy. I just happened to be there, and people next to me were talking about it. I was like, I have one of those. What's that all about? And I did bite into it because they were busy and no one told me to let it cool off, and I got molten. That's why I wear whiskers today, because I have scars, cheese scars along my chin.
When the gal brought my Juicy Lucy, she said, and I remember, she gave me the warning, and I looked at her and I was like, what is it about me that you think I don't know what's about to happen? I recognize that my mouth is at risk.
Yes.
I appreciated the warning, but I was also like, wow, I still don't look like a local.
Nope, you look like a noob.
I'm just a guy at a bar.
Yeah, that's going to create a scene with hot cheese. You're going to be spitting it back out on the plate and making lots of noise.
It's a technique. I didn't get any burn, did I, Steve? I took a big old bite.
Well, hey, guess what? Nor did I. And I didn't need the warning in advance. That's what I'm saying.
You just calloused the inside of your mouth from Juicy Lucy's all these years, Candace?
Yeah. And just in my blood.
Let's talk about the best wings. Okay, your 5 nominees were Serums in Anoka, Wing Joint Blaine, Bricksworth Beer Company, Minneapolis and Burnsville, D-Spot Oakdale, Faux 45 in Lakeville. Ooh. And I'll come right out and just say it. I've not been to any one of these 5 places.
Serum's got my vote, but I'm not on I don't know who won. I'm not on the...
You, my friend, are yet again on the winning team. Serums is your winner for bestest wings.
I mean, that could have gone a lot of different directions. There are a couple of different places on there that I like a lot, and a couple that didn't make the cut. There's more than 5 worthy contestants, but for this purposes of voting, so Serums was the easy winner for me. Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, they got good dry rub. Like if you got good dry rub, you got a good rub.
Right, in Monte Carlo downtown. If you're downtown and you're not in Anoka, you head over to Monte Carlo, the dry rub wings right there at the bar.
Candace, I'll be honest. I like the way you said dry rub.
I know.
Dry rub.
It's a
funny word.
I like a dry rub. Bestest Minnesota-based beer. Surly Furious, Castle Danger Cream Ale, Hams, Summit Saga IPA, Grain Belt Northeast, your winner.
Yeah, don't complicate it. Not here in Minnesota. There's a hell of a lot of good beers.
There's so many beers.
Yeah.
Your winner, Grain Belt Northeast.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Classic.
Northeast.
Just for the sign alone.
Yeah.
That thing at night, as I said earlier, I go, I'd driven over the bridge half dozen times and went, wait a minute, I've not even had one of those. I love that sign. I have to go get some of this Northeast.
Well, I used to go to Vegas and do some shows, and they would fly a pallet of Grain Belt Northeast out there for us because they didn't sell it in Vegas. Yeah, and we go nuts. And I had some mornings, some really early, questionable mornings where I was hanging out with probably Jeff the night before, and I would gargle with Grain Belt in the morning. Literally, just gargle.
Well, they got something there, too, because of the colors of the branding, the swag that comes along with it. I have so many cute hats and shirts. Like it's really like an image. It's they did it. They did it.
So we'll throw down a few other winners for you throughout the day. You can go to 92kqrs.com to check the entire winners list. Best local comedian. There were 5 options: Chad Daniels, Mary Mack, Nate Absher, Greg Coleman, Brian Miller. The winner is on the phone with us in just a few minutes. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have an eyelash in my eye.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh, isn't it the worst? I'm working through it.
Yeah, keep blinking, rub, don't rub.
Oh,
God, you got a lot of eye issues, man. Maybe we should just cut them out.
No, my eyes are wonderful. I just did the little morning, you just kind of rub your eyes. It feels good. Mm-hmm. And then clearly I had a vagrant rogue eyelash who was ready to separate from the flock.
Yeah.
And now I believe I've got him out. But that was a difficult commercial break for me. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Glad you survived.
Now I feel bad.
Break. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Candace. I appreciate a little human empathy on occasion. Listen, I'm not,
you need the cry line.
It's the cry line. Wait, whatever happened to the cry line?
The old 80s cry line. Candace, you're probably not even hip to this. You wouldn't be hip to this, but I don't know if you were introduced to it somewhere along the line. This hotline, everything was all hotlines when we were growing up. It's on the internet now. Yeah. I know she's trying to get Minnesota's bestest comedian on the line right now, but someone dug up this old 80s ad for a hotline. You just call to cry. $2 for the first minute. Listen to this.
Listen, this is real.
What makes people all over America break down and cry like this? Call 1-900-9099-CRY and hear it for yourself. $2 for the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute. If you're under 18, ask your parents before you call.
Creepy.
1-900-9099-CRY.
What the heck?
Yeah, man. You missed it, Candace.
Yeah,
That's so creepy. I just picture people doing gross stuff to that, and I don't like that at all.
What, you cry when you do gross stuff?
I'm people listening to the crying. So wait,
sure.
are these are published? So you cry, you call and you cry, and then people can listen to you cry?
Yeah.
That's freaking
Things
weird.
were so great in the 1980s. We were wondering what it was like to cry. I wonder what it's like to feel that emotion. Because just everything was going our way.
I love it. She goes, people all across America are taking advantage of. It's like, I mean, yeah, the Carter presidency wasn't the best, but I mean, really, it led to an entire cry line. Wow.
Cry it out. 1-900-999-CRY.
Man,
99999.
I hate when people cry. You know why? Because then I cry.
Oh, do you cry? Yeah, I get upset. I get angry when people cry. Not always, sometimes, but do you know those people that just burst into tears all the time, or they cry a lot, or they tear up? Dick Vermeil. He was a football coach, Candace, back in the 1970s, 80s, then came back in the 2000s with the Rams, but he cried. That was his signature.
A crier.
He cried during every press conference. I hated his guts.
He had no problem letting the boys know how much he cared about them, how much he respected their effort.
And then he found just the right group of athletes and put them together, and they plucked some kid out of the Barnstormer League.
That's right.
In Iowa.
He finally got over, won a trophy with the Rams, and I think it's one time he didn't cry.
No, yeah.
I wouldn't have cried all this time if I just had the right team. Go figure. Yeah. I'm a big crier. I have no problem admitting it. I will cry. A couple things are just no-brainers. If I'm on a plane and I've had that's all it takes. One drink at 30,000 feet and a movie. Chances are I'm going to get a little bit too emotional. I'll totally get wrapped up in it. Something about the altitude and the aluminum tube environment I'm living in. And then I've said it many times, but it's true. I knew it was bad when I was crying during a movie called Backdraft. That's
a very emotional movie.
I wasn't even watching it. It was on, and then I put my headphones on, and within 4 minutes, you know what it was? Someone in Backdraft, maybe Kurt Russell, dies. And then there's a funeral, and you know what it takes?
The bagpipes.
The bagpipes. That's what it was.
You're right. The bagpipes get me, too.
The pipes will get me going.
Yeah.
If I hear Scotland the Brave or Amazing Grace on bagpipes, it's a wash. The game over. I'll cry like that, but then occasionally I'll go down the Instagram rabbit hole, and it's a series of videos of either a soldier coming home and surprising his family at the Applebee's or whatever. They have the family photo and he's over their shoulder.
At an assembly. That's a big
one.
Or that
one. Or just simply, I saw one yesterday. I didn't cry, but I watched it like 3 times, and it just killed me. And it was like a college kid. She's got a semester abroad in Italy, and her mom surprises her on her birthday in Italy. And the girl's walking down the sidewalk, and all of a sudden she looks up. She's like, "What the?" And you can see her first thought is, "Oh, something must be wrong. My mom's here." And then she immediately is like, "Wait, it's my birthday." And then they just both burst into tears. And I'm like, "Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice?"
You're just endearing yourself to every woman listening to 92.5 right now. I actually cried I teared up a couple of times over the weekend. This is what a dork I am. The draft. His mother, homeless, living in a homeless shelter while putting herself through law school, raised this boy, drove him to Penn State, Happy Valley. Yeah. He wasn't invited. He didn't have the right shoes. He didn't have any equipment. And she walked up to the coach and said, "This kid wants to be a Nittany Lion. We're living in a..." And I'm like, "Yes, Mom."
Oh, it's incredible.
That's Mom. You go, Mom.
It was a whole theme over the weekend on sports Twitter was when they would show the players. They're at home or they're at a party with their family, and then they hear their name is called, and it's how does the mom react versus how does the girlfriend react, and how does the guy react to his mom and or girlfriend, and A and Bing those things. It's so funny because some of the moms are like, "This is great, I love you," and then some are just like, I mean, they're putting on a show
over the top. You're right. I love the guys sitting right between mom and the girlfriend. And you can tell, and they're holding each hand, and I'm like, he's got to be just sitting there. Which one do I go to first? Which one do I hug first?
The Bestest of Minnesota poll that we put up on the website. We have some announcements. We can give you some of the winners. And speaking of the NFL draft, the best current athlete from Minnesota. Now, this one, we had 6 candidates. Chet Holmgren of the Oklahoma City Thunder, great ball player.
Yes.
Suni Lee, U.S. Olympic gymnastics team from St. Paul.
Gold medal
Frank
winner.
Ragnow, Chanhassen kid with the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
Paige Beckers, watch it, from Hopkins, UConn Huskies.
Yep.
Jesse Diggins, cross-country skiing,
of course.
course.
Gold medals.
Afton. And then Brock Faber out of Maple Grove, who was with the Minnesota Wild.
And
the
played
winner,
half the season with broken ribs.
Tough guy. The winner, bestest current athlete from Minnesota, Suni Lee, getting the vote to the Olympic gymnastics team.
Gold medal. I mean, Jesse's got Diggins has a couple of gold medals, but it's the Winter Olympics, and here in Minnesota, maybe it even still takes a backseat to the Summer Olympics. I don't think so, but well-deserved. Every one of those athletes are well-deserved, but she probably won by a vote or two, and you can't say no to a gold medal in gymnastics. That's one of the marquee Summer Olympic sports. So,
anybody that competes at that level in gymnastics, it just there's athletes, and then there's those men and women who are just on a whole other planet.
Yeah, I've said I played football through the college level, and when my daughter got into gymnastics, I'd go and watch practice, catch like the last half hour or so. It wasn't that dad that was helicoptering, because what do I know about gymnastics? She was in gymnastics for 4 years. When I would look to other parents and go, was that good? I mean, I thought it was a 10, but I see they gave her an 8. So before I charged the judges, explain to me gymnastics. But those young women, I didn't see the boys, there weren't any boys there, but those young women beat the hell out of themselves. I wouldn't have lasted incredible. 1 week in gymnastics.
My buddy, one of my close friends, Nick, his daughter was a very successful on her Olympic path, if you will, until about 14, and then a couple injuries, and then just the burnout, because it's a full-time job from childhood. But my favorite story was she was in 4th grade at school, and she's already a very successful gymnast at that level. So what's 4th grade? 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah.
And they had field day at school, and so all the kids are out. The whole 4th grade is competing, and then they had the pull-up competition, and it comes to and so Ella and a boy they're like the two. There's a boy and a girl, and the boy gets 5 or 6 legit pull-ups, which is good at any age.
Sure.
And when Ella hit 40, the teacher was like, "Okay, Ella,
stop.
honey," and she's like, "I'm not done." And they're like, "Yes, come on." He's crying. You've made a boy cry. She's just like, it's like they're just on a whole nother plane.
You've emasculated everyone.
If you know anybody as an adult who was a gymnast as a child, their fitness level, it never goes away.
Yeah.
I know 2 women who were very competitive gymnasts. They're now in their 40s or 50s, and they still just look like they could go out tomorrow and do a floor exercise. Like they're just the muscle memory. It's just a whole different level, because they start so young. If you don't burn out, you got a lifetime of just being beyond ripped and so strong.
Super fit. Sid the kid is the one person hey, Dad, let's go for a run. Nope. Mm-hmm. I'll ride my bike along while you run or something like that. Yeah, she'll be forever fit just having done gymnastics.
We will be joined momentarily by the bestest local comedian. I'm looking very forward to catching up with that person. We don't want to tip it off. The bestest local comedian, but while we're waiting, the bestest Minnesota company slogan. You've got your 5 nominees. Life's short, stay awake for it. Caribou.
All right.
Don't knock it till you've tried it. Spam. Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. That's kind of hard to beat, man, right there. That's your General Mills force. Ho, ho, ho. Green Giant, of course. And then Hams, born in the land of sky blue waters. And oh my goodness, we are born in the land of sky blue waters. Hams!
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
On the KQ Talk and Text line, or the hotline, or the Superstar hotline, or the most famous, greatest ever queen of local comedy, the winner of your bestest local comedian. It ain't Brian Miller. It ain't Greg Coleman. It ain't Nate Absher. It ain't Chad Daniels. My God, it's Mary Mack.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. You guys, I made myself a tiara and a sash just for this call-in.
Well, I thank you. Well, then it's overkill, but we've got some on the way as well. So just wait for the mail today. It's all coming your way.
Homemade, Mary. Is there some noodles involved? Sparkle? Yeah, there's obviously some sparkles. Some noodle art involved, perhaps. Elmer's glue.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of glue. I've been using a lot of glue just recently, and it's helped my mood a lot. I'm so honored, and I heard that the fans and the listeners and everybody voted on it, and you guys have the best audience, and it really is so special to win it. It means a lot to me, and I just, I don't want to belittle just the honor of it, but I'm really excited to pick up the check too.
Right.
Thank you.
We've got an email out to corporate. We're working on it.
It's more of a coupon than a check, but it's a nice one.
Okay.
Dairy Queen. It's 2 for 1, buy one get one free kind of deal. Yeah, on a dilly bar.
It's not. Are you guys saying it's not actual money then?
Well, I mean, you can't put a price tag on the love of the KQ listeners.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's really funny, guys. Okay, that's so funny. You had me for a second there. I know there's a check. It's not a big deal if you haven't mailed it out yet. I'll just, I get it. This is really great. You're setting me up, but no, really, thanks. And I'm so excited. And we really we needed the money because we heard he bought a new car with it. Because I drove up to Thief River Falls yesterday, and I had to leave my car.
Atta girl.
Why?
So we just needed the new car, and I just needed the money so bad. So I really appreciate it. And then your fans really came through. So thanks to you, listeners. This has been
awkward now, isn't it?
This is really turning into a real heartwarming segment of the show, Mary. Thanks for bearing your soul with us. It's your vulnerability that I think really connects you to the listeners.
Okay, so you're still doing this trick. Okay. All right, well, I'll go along with it then, guys. Don't worry about it. I really am excited about it. And also, I was going to say, can I invite you guys out to some shows this year?
Please.
This summer?
Don't make us beg.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, I just wanna plug Cerebral. I'll be down at the Paradise Center for the Arts on May 17th, and also my summer series in Hayward, Wisconsin is back.
Nice.
Yes, we have musicians, comedians, magicians, poets, everything you can think of, and we always end on a really weird woodland theme based game show. This year it's going to be Saxidermy. It's kind of like a name that tune with a sax player dressed in a bear costume.
Saxidermy.
Yeah, one of the shows will have that, and that's June 8th and August 10th. So cool. I'm stoked to have it. And then I have one on the 24th in Bayfield, Wisconsin, where Kat Perkins, I'm going to get her as a special guest, and we've been trading shows, and it's just a fun time. If you haven't been up where you can get a martini and sit next to a realistic elk, then you're really missing out. So I'm hoping to see some vacationers up there, and it's just a fun time. And this is kind of all I have now is comedy. You guys know I have 2 degrees in music. That's why I do comedy.
Sure, yeah.
This is it. That's why that check just is really going to come in handy. So I'll send Tim down, and just if Candace could text the address, that would be great.
Cool.
Okay, we could make that happen. Of course. Tim Harmston, the other half of the Mary Mack and Tim. You guys are not just co-workers. You're married, comedians married together, performing together. God, we can't think of one of you without the other. Tim Harmston, I'm looking at the best local comedian list. Okay, Mary Mac, you won in a landslide. And Tim was, oh gosh, not nominated. Tim, sorry about that, bro. I mean, if you're with us.
Well, I'm at the car dealership right now. I need that check.
You got it.
Because I got the truck picked out.
That's great. That's
You got it, Tim. You got the Ford F-150.
Wow.
I hope not the limited.
Man.
It's the big package, the one with all the leather seats. I'm ready. I just need the check.
Did you get that sealant? Did you get that sealant on there? Well, the winters are not. You guys are out there in the woods. You got to make sure you're protected.
You might want to try and get that over the border before the
for the truck and myself.
Yeah, Tim's got to protect his chassis. There's a lot.
This is a magical day for all of us. We're so thrilled. We're so thrilled with Mary's win, and Tim's got the truck picked out. And listen, once the check clears, once we figure out all the, there's some T's to cross, there's some I's to dot, sure, but let the magic take precedence for right now, anyway. Bask in the glow.
Next year, can you do a husband of the best husband
that's a good idea.
or a best spouse of a local comedian?
Sure.
And then I at least have a chance to win that one, maybe.
That might sting more if you don't win that one. By the way, speaking of your new Ford F-150, now you can go hunting. You can get rid of the Prius.
Yeah, you can get rid of that woodchuck.
That Prius, and you can go hunting with a Ford F-150 there, Tim.
Yeah, Tim couldn't even afford ammunition before this check came. I had to just dry out. I would dry out old vegetables and load them up in the gun, and just with some chewed up gum. And I'm like, God, I hope this Wrigley's in these hard peas work to take down a deer, Tim. But now we can afford some buckshot. I'm so excited.
Oh man, this is we're gonna remember April 29th for a long time to come, all of us.
I mean, it's going to cost us one of our paychecks, I think.
Yeah.
Probably Steve's. Go with Steve's.
This is the first time we've both been up at 7:30.
A little punchy.
Speaks to the power of the Minnesota bestest list right there.
That's right.
That's fantastic.
You guys do have the best listeners, and I've been coming on. The first time I went on was like probably almost 20 years ago and Louis Anderson brought me on, and we were friends right till the end. So this is really a lot of good memories with KQ, and you guys do such a nice job. So thank you so much and thanks for having the comedians on too. And it is just an honor to get nominated. But Tim, go ahead and sign that paperwork because they're just goofing on us.
I got it. I'm negotiating.
Oh, good. Bring them down
if you don't hear Candace on tomorrow morning, it's because, we had to free up a little money in the budget.
MaryMacComedy.com is a great website to go to if you want to get more information on the gigs. Mary was just mentioning the Clarence Clemens of comedy, ladies and gentlemen. Mary Mac.
Thank you, guys.
But real quick though, so now that I've said that, let's open that door. If you're going to sit in with the E Street Band for one song, which one are you going to play, Mary?
Oh man, Tim, what would you play?
Everybody's got a hungry heart.
And Tim, what instrument are you proficient at, Tim? Because Mary's obviously going to be playing sax. What are you going with?
Yeah.
You know what I do? I harmonize. I'm like a little backup singer, and I can harmonize.
Yeah.
And I don't play an instrument myself, but I can, kind of sit in on the vocals.
Nice.
Let's show them a lick that we do just with the verse, just with the chorus. Everybody's got a hungry. Ready, Tim? That's your pitch. Yeah. Ready? You're going to take the melody or me the harmony, or what's going on? I'll do my normal drone. Ready? And here we go. Everybody's got
That's gold.
Yeah, we put it through a computer and it sounds great.
Yeah,
that's how that
need
works.
Some AI help on that, I think.
I just like Tim describing himself as a little background singer.
Yeah.
That's the part I like the best.
Between singing and humming.
It's beautiful, whatever you call it.
it's a brand. It's its own niche.
Yes. All right. Well, listen, you guys have set a pretty high bar for next year. All the best moving forward. We do want you to defend your crown, Mary, so get to work.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I'm writing new jokes as we speak. Thank you. Can't wait for the car.
Awesome.
How are you guys doing?
Thank you both. Mary Mack and Tim Harmston, fantastic. Always a pleasure to hear.
Well loved.
From those two. Well loved and a well-earned love. Okay, speaking of, let's turn on to well-earned disgruntlement. Rolling Stone loves to put these lists out constantly.
Yeah.
100 greatest guitarists, 100 greatest rock albums, 100 greatest metal albums. How about the 500 greatest songs of all time? It's time for a knockdown dragout. I'll knuckle over this list anytime. And Brittany Spanos, senior writer who is one of the many people responsible for that list, will be joining us in just a few minutes, so hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, April 29th. In a few minutes, a senior writer for Rolling Stone, Brittany Spanos, will be joining us. She is hosting, along with Rob Sheffield, a new podcast, the 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. So we'll just argue with her for a few minutes because that's what those lists are here for.
Yeah, nothing selective about that.
Here's something that is inarguable. The Minnesota Timberwolves are serious. They swept the Phoenix Suns. Last night's Game 4 victory in Phoenix, 122-116. I got to say, for a fourth quarter on a road closeout game, I've never felt less stressed. The Timberwolves just have that thing going right now where the body language tells the whole story. Put them on, enjoy it, kick back. This is a very confident, very deep, very well-coached team that will now full on find out how good they are, because the Denver Nuggets are the next ones up. Well, the Nuggets, they're ahead of the Lakers 3-1. They've got to beat the Lakers, which I believe they will do the next time they play. And then you're going to have the Nuggets, the defending champs, and the Timberwolves in a best of 7. For everybody who has kind of tuned out the NBA over the last 20 years, it's been that long since the Wolves have won a playoff series. Get back on right now. Trust me, you're gonna be glad you did.
And it has such a different feel with this playoffs. Even when the Twins were winning World Series, as they went through the playoffs, they had the worst team to win at that time, a World Series with a worst regular season record. You were waiting for the other shoe to fall. And, of course, the Vikings in the playoffs, enough said. When they go into the playoffs, there was the 15-1 team that you got a little cocky with and thought we were going all the way. But most of and the Wild in the playoffs, you're just waiting, oh, God, can we get around? I mean, that was the victory. Can we get through a series and get on to the next one before someone smokes us? Very different vibe with this Timberwolves team. Of course, they just swept. It's easy to say, but I mean, this is a team that plays with a lot of confidence and a lot of power and a lot of talent. And I'm only just getting on the bandwagon. Just since the play, just down the run, Steve kind of broke me down, got me interested. You watch them play once, and you're like, oh, okay. I want to watch this.
It's a real deal. It's a real deal. And last night, with about a minute and a half to go in the game, they're about to pull off a road win, about to sweep and vanquish a foe. Chris Finch, the head coach, he gets run down. Our point guard, Michael Conley, runs into Chris Finch on the sidelines. Conley got shoved. He runs into the head coach and apparently tore his right patellar tendon in his knee. The head coach goes down with a knee injury. And after the game, they've won this series. It's the first playoff series for this team in so long. A muted celebration as the head coach is, like now with a major knee injury. But you know what? That's called taking a hit for the team. Nothing puts a chip on your shoulder more than going in to play the defending champs, and your coach is going to be limping around now, going through a knee injury on his own. I mean, it could possibly play very nicely into the emotional makeup of the team. A young team. And young teams that get a big win like the Timberwolves just did, they can get a little over their skis. They can get a little cocky. And it's like, no. This is going to be a grounding, rallying cry when the head coach is in a knee brace. I think it's fantastic for the team.
Looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves X page this morning, and there's the team back in the locker room after the big win with the coach, and they're all hugging him.
Yep.
And there's a lot of, moments there. You're right. It's just that little more of a lift, a little bit more of an incentive, the kind of things that will focus a team and lift a team. So
Anthony
I think
Edwards,
it was brilliant.
Anthony Edwards, the 22-year-old superstar, the ascendant superstar. My man just went off 40 points, 31 in the second half. And Kevin Durant, who is by any measure a top 20 player of all time, after the game said, "I'm so impressed with Ant." He said, my favorite player to watch. He's grown so much. I love everything about Ant. Everything. That's a pretty ringing endorsement right there. So we'll be listen, you're just going to have to deal with how excited I am about this as the playoffs progress. Congrats to the Timberwolves. That's a huge, huge win. Rolling Stone magazine has a new podcast, The 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. Rob Sheffield and Brittany Spanos host this podcast, and Brittany is with us on the KQ Morning Show right now. Brittany, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So when you put out something called the 500 Greatest Songs of All Time, I just assume you're just knuckling down for a fight because, oh, my God, nothing like a list to just bring out all of the various opinions. When you sit down with Rob Sheffield and you decide you're going to do this, I mean, do you have to draw out, like on a whiteboard, what are our measuring sticks? What are the parameters? What makes a song great? How do you even begin to sort of assemble this? What are the most important things you look for?
Well, luckily, Rob and I are not the only two people putting together the list. This list was a major labor of love. It was hundreds and hundreds of votes from journalists, from music industry figures, and from artists themselves. Mm-hmm. We had done the list originally in 2004, and we redid it in 2021. So the podcast is just kind of a celebration of the list where Rob and I are picking out our favorite songs. We're picking out songs that made big debuts on the 2021 list, picking out songs that he and I just want to talk about and have interesting stories. And, so luckily, I mean, if we were in charge of it, I'm sure it would have made everyone much angrier. So.
Right. So on a list like this, now we are a classic rock station. Let's just give me some insight. I mean, we don't have the whole list in front of us, of course. There are many podcasts to listen to figure out the list, but some of the all-time classics. I mean, I do see that Fleetwood Mac's "Dreams" is on there. That might not be the first song people think of when they think of Fleetwood Mac, but it's got an enduring quality to it. What about that specific song? Kind of rings out to you?
Yeah, I mean, so with that song, that was the highest debut of a song on this list. So Dreams wasn't on the original 500 Greatest Songs list. And this list was done in sort of at the end of 2020, early 2021 is when people were voting. Mm-hmm. And obviously that was so much spearheaded by Dreams resurging and becoming a big hit again.
Right.
So it's kind of fascinating to sort of see how just the time and the timing of voting affects people. But it's a song that I really love. It's fun to kind of see it up there. I think it also is very representative of sort of the enduring qualities of Fleetwood Mac's legacy over the last several decades, and of Stevie Nicks specifically.
That legacy, definitely. I mean, I have two kids, college-age kids, and both of them separately in the last few years have like, hey, Fleetwood Mac's pretty good, aren't they? It does. It just keeps coming around. Kids that age now have everything at their fingertips in a way that I could only have hoped for when I was their age. But that's certainly there.
And that's the fun part about me and Rob too. Is Rob is he grew up in the 60s and 70s. Mm-hmm. I'm a millennial. I was born in the 90s. We have such different perspectives on what music is and what's popular and things that, we have a lot of the same taste, but also just experience things from a different lens. And so I think that's made it really fun to discuss all of these songs is something like Fleetwood Mac he grew up with and experienced that in real time. And I'm someone who kind of came to that a lot later, but as a teenager who just was drawn to it.
Yeah, that's how I am too, and I agree with you how it really does showcase that particular song, Stevie Nicks, and I feel like a lot of people my age and our age associate that song with Stevie Nicks, and some even think that that's her song as a solo artist. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. You know what I like about this is how you take each one of the songs, and that's an episode of a podcast. So you really work through that song and give us some background and history. And you can, I would tell our classic rock listeners, cherry pick here a little bit because you guys throw out the entire net. You've got everyone under this tent here, from Taylor Swift, we mentioned Fleetwood Mac. I'm looking at Big Mama Thornton for the blues lovers on here. So you really are, but each episode I can go, okay, maybe Missy Elliott isn't for me. Maybe I don't want to know that much about that tune, but I go to the next episode, Big Mama Thornton, heck yeah, listening to it at the commercial break.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my taste is very wide-ranging, Rob's taste is very wide-ranging, and the list gives us so many opportunities to really have fun and choose what is sort of piquing our interest. And thankfully, we both have like a very, very wide breadth of music history love. And so it's been really fun to kind of dig into all those songs that we really adore and want to learn more about and tell people about and have fun with.
So with that in mind, Brittany, what's one song you were like, wait, you're kidding me? How did this not make the list? I mean, there's got to be a few you still shake your head. Because as you said, this was put together with so many votes from so many people.
I mean, I'm a big boy band person. I'm actually shocked there was not any songs by a boy band on the list, especially with like more millennial and Gen Z voters. Mm-hmm. I was pretty shocked about that. Because, I put like some NSYNC in there. There is Backstreet Boys in there, but yeah, I was shocked there weren't more representation of that on the list.
It's a perfect example of the cross the generations as we're talking about, because you shocked and dismayed, me thrilled to hear. See how that works?
Is there any contention within the group? Because I mean, we talked about the passion people obviously bring to their music. We can sit here, the three of us, and talk about our favorite. Just pick one tune, and it's going to get a little contentious, or we're going to let at least some good times fly at each other. Did some of that happen in this process?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone has different beats. Everyone has different things that they cover, and I think everyone, it was sort of ends up being like a little shocked at what makes it and what doesn't, what songs make it and what doesn't by specific artists. I think we have metal writers who were like, oh, I thought that there would be more metal representation on this list, or things like that. There's always things that people are feeling, but it is, it's a big vote, and there's a lot of stuff that kind of, maybe a lot of people vote for different songs by the same artist. People vote for the most popular one. People vote for an obscure one, a personal one. It's really fascinating how it comes together, but I would say especially the top like 25, I feel very proud of how that came together.
Brittany Spanos from Rolling Stones with us. Rolling Stones 500 Greatest Songs. The podcast is available, I would imagine, anywhere you get podcasts. Brittany, thanks for taking the time to call in. This is certainly compelling. We'll listen. We'll complain about it off air for the next, 500 episodes. So well done. That's quite a labor of love. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks for having me.
See ya. That top, I guarantee you, their 500 greatest songs, I've never even heard of 100 of them.
Yeah, right.
I bet of the top 500, there's 100 titles I don't even know, and I bet half the songs I haven't even heard. I know the artist, I know the title, but I don't even know the song.
Well, an example is they kick it off the first episode ranked number 500, Kate Bush running up that hill. Now, Kate Bush goes into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame last year. Mm-hmm. She's in last year's class, and I'm giving you guys a little bit of grief. I'm like, Kate Bush goes in ahead of Foreigner or whoever I was arguing about that particular year. I'm like, I'm familiar with her. I didn't watch the series Stranger Things. That doesn't rate with me. I'm familiar with Kate Bush, but Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I see she's the first episode. Well, okay, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to learn a bit more about this tune that everyone thinks is so fantastic, and maybe have a little bit of an appreciation for Kate Bush.
That's the cool thing about it. There are. I'm just trying to think, of that top 25, she said, we're really proud of that. You just go off, I think about, you see list top 25 rock songs, but this is just songs, and so you have to factor in, the summer hits. I mean, you're probably going to see Satisfaction right next to Katy Perry's Firework or something, and I'll just be like, but at the same time, to that generation, to those kids.
It's so personal.
I only have one song of the last 15 years that was a giant pop hit. Yeah. This has only happened to me once, where I heard a song on the radio in the car one time, and it was on and at the time I first heard it, it was on a little indie station in Nashville, and then it turned into be a giant hit. And I listened to this one song in its entirety, and I immediately called a much younger friend, and I said, what the hell is this? This is the greatest thing I've ever heard. And it was the first time I heard Royals by Lorde.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that song?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the song.
The first time I heard that, Lorde, Lorde, her song Royals, so it would have been 2011 or 2012. That thing came over my car radio once, and I felt like I have my thumb squarely on the pulse again. The only time it's happened. I'd every other pop song my kids are listening to, I'd be like, that's crap. I heard Royals, And I told my kids, I go, this is the one. And both of them were like, yeah, it's okay. I'm like, no, you don't get it. No. This is a whole different level of things. So I ride the Lord train. Taylor Swift missed it. All the boy bands missed them. I get it. The stuff's big out there. But I can only claim that one. So if Royals is on the list, I'll still feel like I'm somewhat connected to modern music. And of course, I'm talking about a song that's at least a dozen years old.
Yeah.
I feel for me like there's a difference between liking something and then it affecting you. So, I mean, when she was talking about the boy bands, when I was little, I liked NSYNC. I'll admit it, whatever. But it didn't really I didn't sit there and cry to NSYNC about, my life or something that was going on with my boyfriend at the time. Like, there are songs and bands that have affected me, and then there's bands and songs that I just like.
Yeah.
So I could never put together a list of this. This would be like the hardest thing ever.
No, each one of my lists would be completely different. It would be a completely different 500 songs. There would be a couple of songs that would remain, but my top 10 would change with my mood. I say, when people ask, who's your favorite band? Well, you're going to get a different answer every time.
Mm-hmm. Best Led Zeppelin album is usually the one I'm listening to.
Yep.
That's how that works.
I know, right? Especially with Led Zeppelin or the Beatles. You're like, no, that's my favorite album until you hear Rain and go, no, wait, I guess it's Revolver. No, wait,
exactly
I guess
it.
Yeah, right.
Hey, 92 KQRS wants you. And we want us. We want all of us.
Me.
Let's celebrate our moms or any mom you know with a classic rock for mom this Mother's Day. Tell us about the coolest mom you know at 92KQRS.com, and we might hook her up with $500 for Riddle's Jewelry to pick out some ice of her own. Holy smokes. Contest rules for the coolest mom you know at 92KQRS.com, sponsored by Riddle's Jewelry. And as long as we're talking about cool stuff, are we going to give something away here? Let's do it.
Hell yeah, Monday morning, little kid or drunk adult. Let's get it out in the open this morning. 2 callers, please, 9 and 2, 651-989-ROCK. We're playing for tickets to Pat Benatar with Neil Giraldo. Went into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame together. Their duos from way back in the beginning. BTO Berlin, July 12th at Lakefront Music Festival in Prior Lake. Our runner-up today gets Arrival from Sweden, the music of ABBA. I'll see you there Friday at the Medina.
Nice.
I may be in costume. I'll be there. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck and hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, April the 29th. I just saw a story, came across, you're listening to a little Steppenwolf. We're sitting through the commercial break, flipping through Twitter, and I see that a gentleman was just arrested, 57-year-old Burra Lawson. The third, he placed a plastic grocery bag with his own, let's just call them droppings, on a woman's Ring doorbell camera. He took a bag of his own droppings and placed them around a Ring doorbell camera on a woman's home that he apparently has some affection for. It's a Ring doorbell camera, dude, and he didn't wear a mask. This is the kind of arrest that police love. Oh,
he wanted to be caught.
I wonder who put this bag of crap on your Ring doorbell camera. Oh, I don't know. Let's go look at the footage. Oh, it's that guy that you don't like.
He actually got to come in for a close-up to hang it down there, and he did it for what reason?
Just apparently
that'll show you.
Yeah, that'll show you, or there's what am I trying to say? A little heartbreak he's trying to work through apparently. And this is the kind of thing you would do, in my opinion. There's one of two reasons you might do something with a bag of your own droppings. One is you're either a little kid or maybe you're a drunk adult. I think it's safe to say this was, in fact, a drunk adult. And with that in mind, we've got tickets to see Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo, along with, holy smokes, not just Pat and Neil, Bachman Turner Overdrive, as well as Berlin. That's a hell of a night. July 12th at the Lakefront Music Festival in Prior Lake. We would love to give away tickets to that show. We've got a runner-up prize today as well. Arrival from Sweden, the music of ABBA. That's this Friday at Medina.
Oh.
Sounds sexy.
Yeah.
It does
sounds like
sexy.
a good time. It sounds like a good date night. You take her to that, and she'll be your
away.
dancing queen, right?
I was on the road with a Welsh band called Stereophonics in 2003 and 2004. Gosh, 20 years ago. And when we were on the road in Europe, there was 2 backup singers on tour with the band, and one of them was in an ABBA tribute act in her other time.
Yeah.
She was the blonde singer in ABBA in this tribute act, and they would go around Europe and perform as if they were ABBA, very, very top-level professional gig. And we were talking, like Stereophonics are one of these bands that, like in the UK, they're huge. We're doing multiple arenas in cities, and in Wales, where they're from, we did the Millennium Stadium. I mean, they're just as big as it gets. And then in Europe, they're like a theater band. We're doing 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 seaters. And we were at catering one night, and we were in, I believe we were in Paris, about to play a show. And I was talking to this singer, and I said, "So wait, you do this ABBA thing?" I said, "Man, what kind of business does that do?" She goes, "Oh, well, I'm playing here next month." They're doing as much business as the band. Like she's a backup singer for a band, and then she's one of the main singers, and they're playing the same rooms. And I was like, oh my God. So in case you're wondering how big ABBA continues to be, their tribute acts do theater gigs, and Medina. It's just an absolute printing money with that great music.
Oh, there was no bigger. I mean, England was probably the biggest ABBA fans ever. I mean, England is absolutely gaga for ABBA. I mean, they approached Beatle-like sales in England with ABBA, and we were over there taking our vacation. We weren't going to go to the big show, the big expensive show, and spend like $400 for tickets. We thought, well, let's go see an ABBA show. And you punch in ABBA show near me in London, there's about 50 every night. We're like, I'm like, there's literally one next door to the hotel. So, let's want to have a show. Why not?
Candace is at Travelocity as we speak.
I just did an ABBA themed birthday party for my birthday.
Did you?
Yeah, it's just fun. Everyone, and people were there younger than me.
Take a chance.
I tell you what, man, the day's going to come where some proper rock band busts out a version of SOS. When that chorus hits, I'm like, that is rock right there. Like, there needs to be a bombastic Queen-esque version of SOS. Some band's going to have the balls to pull it off. And when that happens, I'll be happy. But right now, we're going to give away tickets to some shows. I believe we have a couple of callers on the horn ready to play. And today it is Little Kid or Drunk Adult. It's time. Candace, who's contestant number 1?
All right. Let's do Chad from Roseville.
Chad, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Great to be on the show with you guys.
It's a pleasure to have you, sir. Are you familiar with Little Kid or Drunk Adult?
I am.
Let's do it. Zep.
All right, Chad. First up, Matt. Little Kid or Drunk Adult. Here's the scenario.
I got arrested for stealing a boat.
All right, you got arrested for stealing a boat, but as a little kid or a drunk adult?
That's a drunk adult. So I was a little kid, and I took my neighbor's rowboat out on the canal. And when I returned it to my neighbor's dock, he saw me running back into my house and decided to call the cops. And he had me arrested. It's been something like 20 years now, and he still won't even talk to our family.
All right, that's what you do with all that. That's what little kid or drunk adult does to all that confidence that Chad had. Oh, yeah, it's a drunk adult all the way. That's what it does. It humbles you, doesn't it? But you've got 2 more. And now we're going to turn you over to Jerry, little kid or drunk adult.
Hey, guys, I once dug a hole in front of my yard and buried all of my dad's bowling shirts in there. It's pretty crazy.
Okay, he buried all of his dad's bowling shirts in a hole in the yard. But as a little kid or a drunk adult, Chad?
Little kid.
I was a little kid.
Yes.
There you go.
I was mad because he wouldn't let me go to the bowling league with him. And then years later, I actually found out what the bowling league meant. And it was him going to his mistress's house named Wanda.
Well,
that's a different type of bowling. Yeah. That's called balling. It's a whole different thing.
Should have buried his underwear.
Wow.
Yeah, all right. Well, hey, Chad, good news. 1 for 1. That's fantastic in this game.
I think it's fascinating that he found a woman who just says, yeah, we can do this, but you're wearing a bowling shirt, buddy.
Something about a bowling shirt. A bowling shirt and a comb over gets the job done for some women. All right, Chad, you get 1 more here. 2 would be a pretty high position for little kid or drunk adult.
Okay, KBJ, so was I a little kid or a drunk adult? I tried to kiss a donkey and it ended up biting me on the nose. I ended up with stitches.
Okay, so she was ended up biting her on the nose, a donkey. Was she a little kid or a drunk adult?
I'll say a little kid.
I was a very drunk adult.
at a barn party in Okeechobee.
No.
I thought the donkey was feeling me. I tried to hug her for a photo, and she wasn't feeling me, so she bit me.
Okoboji. I used to go down to Okoboji all the time for 4th of July down there in Iowa for a good time. Never got bit by a donkey. Okay, 1 for 3, and that has won this game before. It certainly forced some tiebreakers. And we had a tiebreaker on 2 0 for 3s before. So, Chad, hang tight. You're not out of this by any stretch of the imagination.
All right.
I know you're thinking we're kidding you. 1 out of 3 is right in the winner's circle for this one. All right, Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Alex from Eden Prairie.
Alex, good morning.
Good morning.
You ready to play a little kid or drunk adult?
Oh yeah, I've been listening forever, Zep, and Steve. I wasn't sure when Tom left what it would be like, but Steve, you're doing an awesome job.
He is doing an awesome job.
Thank you, Alex. You are already doing an awesome job, my friend. Flattery will get you everywhere around these parts. Good luck, sir.
All right, Alex, first up, this is Marcia.
Okay, so I vomited in a stranger's popcorn while watching a movie.
All right, at the movie theater, vomited in a stranger's popcorn as a little kid or a drunk adult?
Drunk adult.
I was a drunk adult.
Oh, yeah.
I was mixing my vodka with soda in a dark theater, and I didn't realize just how strong I was making these drinks. And I was told halfway through the movie that I grabbed the popcorn bucket sitting in the stranger's lap next to me, and I vomited all in it.
Wow.
And my friends quickly just whipped me out of the back exit.
Yeah.
The way Alex answered that so quickly and confidently. Alex, were you that stranger holding the popcorn bucket by any chance?
No.
Okay.
All right, there it is. We have ourselves a tie game for the win. This is Andre.
I swallowed my pet fish while it was alive.
Andre swallowed his pet fish while it was alive. But was he drunk or just innocent? Little kid or drunk adult?
He said little kid.
A little kid.
All right, here it is.
So, I was a little kid, and my goldfish had like a few scales that looked like they were turning color. So what I did was I had it in my mouth by its tail, and I was holding it up to the light, and the slippery fish just like shot down my throat, just reflexively swallowed it. And, I cried for days, and it was just horrible. And since then, I hadn't eaten another fish.
No, doesn't even eat fish anymore. It's too traumatic. Well, Alex, you've got the win. That's good news. But can you get the sweep, the 3 for 3, the bragging rights? This is Angela.
I jumped in a pool, not realizing it had no water in it.
Jumped in the pool, didn't realize there wasn't any water in it. Little kid or drunk adult?
I'd say drunk adult.
I was a drunk adult.
Wow.
But in my defense, there were no lights on outside. I shattered my ankle, and because of the way I fell, I actually also fractured an orbital bone. So the only good news was that I didn't jump in the deep end, because it would have been a lot worse.
Yeah, wow, really? Yeah.
Boy, Alex has clearly spent plenty of time as both a little kid and a drunk adult.
He's an expert.
3 for 3. And I've been here, a year, 15 months? That's only the second person to run the table 3 for 3, Alex. That's very well played, sir. You have tickets. July 12th, Berlin, BTO, and Pat Benatar with Neil Giraldo at the Lakefront Music Festival. Congrats. Chad, fine effort on your part, sir.
Yeah.
You've got tickets Friday at Medina, Arrival from Sweden, the music of ABBA. Gentlemen, thank you both.
Thank you. Great, thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, little kid or drunk adult.
But that's impressive. That's it. As I said, only the second time I can think of somebody coming in at 3 out of 3.
Pretty rare, because it is just a flip of the coin. Although the guys seemed fairly confident, both of them this morning, in their answers. But yeah, there you go, another one in the books.
Yeah, they were feeling it. They were feeling it for sure. I'm trying to see this thing. I saw something earlier about we mentioned earlier in the show letting friends stay with us, the things that can all go wrong there. Here's something else I just wanted to mention quickly. And with Chauncey Gorman sitting here right in between our feet, Zep, this sleeping animal that what a handsome guy. Look at him. He's just not a care in the world.
It's been a long weekend. I really want to curl up with him.
I just saw a list of 4 things that we'd all do that our dog actually hates.
I didn't know dogs had that emotion.
I didn't know either. But apparently, according to dog experts, there are things we do that your dogs do not like. Now, First things first, this one I think we all know, which is when they're smelling something and you yank them away from that. Like, when we take a walk, we're taking in the trees and the landscape and we're enjoying the view. Dogs, it's all about what they smell. A dog on a walk, he's there for his nose. That's how he gets the lay of the land, truly. And when a dog is stopping every 2 seconds to sniff something, here's the thing. You got to let them do it. That's them taking in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that? What's that harumph, Candace?
I get it, but Gigi acts like she's some big boy dog. She sniffs and she marks her territory.
Yeah.
It's the strangest thing, and she's just this little girl. And
well, you've heard Napoleonic, the characteristics. Like the little ones are the ones who have to, establish the most dominance.
And we're trying to get a walk in. Like we're walking. I was like, Gigi, we're doing something here.
There's your walk, and then there's Gigi's walk, and you shouldn't confuse the two.
And also, the sniffing is so, sometimes it's so close to her mouth, and I kiss that mouth, so it's like I don't want you like licking that dog's pee up and weird stuff.
Well, hold on. Sniffing and then licking pee, that's two different things. You've crossed a line there.
Do you ever think that the grossest thing she does from her point of view is kissing you? Maybe she's like, good God.
Wow.
I have to immediately go outside and start lapping up some pee.
Oh, my God. That's so mean. Maybe, though.
No, I seriously doubt that. But, yeah, the walk is for her. Remember, it's for her. It's like being in a relationship, Candace. What does she want?
Yeah. Complete capitulation, the secret to success.
Yeah.
Guilt shaming a dog. This is where you see your dog, you walk in, there's a torn up pillow, and you're like, what did you do? What did you do? And even go and take a picture and post it. Dogs are confused. They misread the signals here. You're giving them attention, but then they can tell you're not happy, you're displeased. It's important. Also, saying returning and leaving. Really important. Dog people say don't fuss when you return and don't give a big goodbye when you leave. But keep them at a static level. You know what I mean?
So when you come in and they go gonzo, you're not supposed to go gonzo with them?
Well, that's something they've probably learned because you've taught them to go gonzo. They can be a little more like if you crate train a dog. Like when you leave the house, if your dog's in a crate, they say when you come home, you don't run to the crate and let them out immediately. You come in, you ignore, don't even acknowledge them for the first minute or two. Go about your business, and
like
then go
Maria
over.
does with me,
and just open.
Exactly. And I sit up, I'm like Maria. She walks right past me.
Yeah, right. She's going to finish.
Takes like a half hour before she even acknowledges I'm in the house.
And that way you don't jump on her and lick her face.
Yeah,
and do all those things.
Everything's going good, isn't it? Your relationship's going well. So, I mean, it's working, isn't it?
Okay.
I don't know. Humping her leg.
Here's something else, and this one I am going to take. This is just too bad. Sorry. This is, again, a so-called dog expert say don't hug your dogs.
What the heck?
An experiment in 2016, they said the research says dogs don't like being hugged. Less than 10% of dogs are actually cool with it. Now, of course, they're guessing based on, it's all guesswork. Dogs can't look at you and in perfect English go, actually, Steve, I'm not crazy about the hugs. But this is what they're doing. They have said they're analyzing all this information. They say they actually don't prefer to be hugged. Again, I'm going to go to Exhibit A, Chauncey Gorman. My man will put his head right on my shoulder when I hug him and just give in. But maybe that's him just going, all right, get it over with, dude. I thought we were having a moment, and maybe he's just rolling his eyes at me.
Yeah, it's on Gigi's terms usually because she is a snuggle bug. We cuddle and we snuggle and hug and all that stuff. But sometimes she will growl at me if she doesn't want to be picked up or, especially when we're in the bed chilling and she's chilling harder than me, she will get mad and she's been growling at me later in her old age.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
leave me
welcome to
alone.
old age. Yeah, it's not just dogs. This does sound a lot like a human relationship. So we can't hug the dogs. We can't get excited when we see them. We can't give them a fun, loving goodbye. What the hell? It sounds doesn't sound like the relationship I remember having with dogs.
Oh, man. I look back and I think about the family dogs we had growing up, and we thought we had well-behaved dogs. They were just like all but junkyard cur dogs looking back now. Based on 70s definition of a well-behaved dog meant that it literally hadn't killed one of your friends. That's pretty much, that was the bar.
Yeah, right.
This was a pre-leash time. Think about how many when I was a kid, that you would, in a normal day, you'd see half a dozen dogs in your yard.
Oh yeah.
Off leash without any human being anywhere near them.
Running all over the place.
And you didn't even bat an eye. You just didn't even raise an eyebrow. Now, if I see a dog off leash in my yard, I mean, and I'm saying this, I'm like, oh my God, I got to find that dog. Better get that dog's clearly lost, and there's probably a trouble somewhere.
Yeah, my daughter Taylor, we're out. She's like, Dad, there's a dog over there. I'm like, yeah, there is a dog over there. I can see it. She said, well, it's by itself. It's in a park by itself. Do you think we should call the Humane Society? Should we call animal control? I'm like, no, just let's keep walking. I don't want to get involved. And it's just a dog by itself. It doesn't appear to be in distress. It's just trotting around.
Yeah, it's weird.
But that doesn't jive with her. You talked about being an old person, and getting Gigi's getting older, Candace, and getting a little cranky.
Yeah,
I think I'm getting older. I really do. And here's why. Because, when the kids went through the distressed jeans look, there were holes in the jeans. I'm like, whatever. I loved holes in my jeans. I don't care. You guys wear whatever you want as long as it's not too revealing. I'm not a big revealing guy. Age-appropriate clothing. But beyond that, do your thing. Let your freak flag fly. It's your style. Color your hair. Have some fun.
Sure.
But I'm looking at a new $800 pair of jeans, and I'm drawing the line. I'm old. I'm on the porch, and I'm pissed off. Pardon the pun. Well, what the hell am I talking about? We're going to tell you about the latest trend in jeans. Candace, you're not old. I want your opinion on this here at 8:55. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, April the 29th. Your Minnesota Timberwolves are in the second round of the NBA playoffs. They're most likely going to face the defending champion Denver Nuggets. I'm very excited about that because the Timberwolves team, I have not lived here through the last 2 decades of futility. I just got here last year, so I'm brand new bandwagon Johnny. Let's go T-Wolves.
Well,
this team is fun to watch, and they are very, very legit, and they're going to have the ultimate test. They are playing the best team in the league the last 3 seasons. Denver would be already back-to-back champs if they stayed healthy 2 years ago. They won the title last year, and right now I think Minnesota is going to give them a heck of a series. I look forward to Denver finishing off the Lakers so we can get down to business. That is very exciting. So, the Twins are on a bit of a tear recently. They finally turned it around, right? 6 or 7 in a row?
7 in a row. And the bats are hitting them like a little league team out there, man.
Hell yeah, let's get on that. Vikings got a quarterback, maybe. They, there's a lot of good things happening around here. You might want to get out. The summer is right around the corner. Spring is trying to sprung as much as it can. And at this time of year, a lot of people are thinking about, got to update the wardrobe a little bit. Maybe need a new, maybe you got to,
get a new flannel. I get that's where I buy the thin flannels, not the thick flannels, not the double ply, but the kind of the thin ones. You get a little breeze going through them. Sure, I might pick up a new one.
Very nice. For a lot of people, the summer means, time to put on the new fun fashions. Jeans are good year round. You can never, good pair of blue jeans is gonna serve you just fine.
Oh yeah.
I remember very clearly as a kid when painter's pants were the white painter's pants. Suddenly everybody had to have those.
I remember those.
Well, like 79, 80, 81, those years in middle school and high school for me, everybody was rocking the painter's pants. And then there were because up until then in my life there was Levi's or Wranglers. There's 2 types of jeans. That was one or the other. And then all of a sudden there was like Jordache, and then there was chic jeans, and then there was all the brand jeans that the girls in high school were wearing. Yeah. And then suddenly you were buying jeans that already had holes in them.
Yeah,
you're like, wait, what? Oh, I see. That's kind of stylish. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And now there's so many. I go back to when I only knew of two Lee. I guess there was a third one, Lee jeans.
Yeah,
but,
Lee jeans were hanging around.
Now there's just so many companies,
and they got a lot more expensive.
Way more expensive. The more holes, the more you paid.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just got some Wrangler jeans.
Did you?
For pretty cheap, and then I cut my own hole in it.
Well, here comes Wrangler, and she's one tough customer, as the old song used to sing.
Hell yeah, brother.
Damn straight. So now there's a new designer brand in the UK. Oh my. They have a new jean. if you're ready for this, $800, and it's not acid washed, it's not pre-torn kneecaps, it's pre-stained jeans.
Yeah.
The brand is called Jordan Luca.
Yeah.
Jordan Luca, and they are offering for $800 a pre-stained blue jean. Now it's a faded denim jean that looks exactly like, and now I said pre-stained, literally looks like you just pissed yourself. That's the style.
That's it. I mean,
your crotch is soaking wet, apparently, from peeing yourself.
Holes in jeans, and then they make them look dirty. The dirty look, when you talked about pre-stand, I thought maybe you might be going there with the dirty look. That stuff, okay, I'll allow for that. I see a lane for that. I get trends. I don't hop on board fashion trends, but I see them. But you want to walk around looking like you peed your pants, really? And
They have two different versions. One is a lighter stain. It looks like you pissed yourself yesterday and didn't get around to washing your jeans. And then the second one looks like you are literally peeing it looks like I just did this.
Yeah, it's happening as you're walking past, right?
Gross.
And by the way, selling out. Every time they announce, the boom, forget it.
For how much?
$800.
That's crazy.
The ones that look like you peed yourself yesterday are $600.
You can go out for a couple of bucks. I'd say $10 and buy a bottle of Mad Dog. You drill that bad boy and piss your pants yourself. Candace, you talked about cutting your own holes in your jeans. Yeah, you would just want to get sloppy drunk and pee your pants, I guess, before you go out. Do you want the pre-pee sort of dried look, or if you want it to look fresh? I might just start walking down the street and just piss my pants instead of looking for a place to pee, And then you have to worry about public indecency.
This is crazy. I don't want anyone, no more. I don't want eyes going to that area in general. Like, why would I make... I don't want so you just stare at my crotch.
Oh my God!
That's what this is for. So staring at the crotch.
And you'd look like a drunk, out of control chick. Guys would prey on you. Predators would be like, "Oh, there's somebody that's obviously very sloppy drunk." I just walk around looking for women that have peed their pants. That's the woman for me.
I mean, you got the photos I'm seeing. It's all dudes modeling these jeans. This is no different to me, and more confusing. It was actually even less confusing. I was just thinking where my brain just went when Candace said that. Yeah, it's to get you to stare at your crotch. It'd be like a T-shirt or a blouse for a woman that looks like she's lactating. You know what I mean? Like, nursing, huh? You need to pump I mean, what is the point of this? Why? Who thinks this looks good?
That's kind of turning me on a little bit. But I mean, that's how it's working. But there's no way to walk down the street looking cool with your shirt half tucked in and half out, and a $500 haircut with your $800 pea jeans. Although Billy Madison, you remember the Adam Sandler movie, he made it work for him.
Hey, look everybody, Billy peed his pants.
Of course I peed my pants. Everybody my age pees their pants. It's the coolest.
Really?
Yes, you ain't cool unless you pee your pants.
And that's when the hot blonde fell in love with him. Maybe that's what they're doing. They're just there's a man confident enough to walk down the street having pissed his pants. No, I can't come up with the scenario. It doesn't work under any scenario. You just paid $800 to look like a jackass.
I mean, is there a T-shirt out there that you can buy where it looks like you just vomited on yourself? I mean, there's got to be. I'm sure. I mean, there's fake dog poop. There's got to be fake vomit on a shirt somewhere.
People are strange.
That's very true. When you're paying $800 for a pair of jeans to give someone else the impression that you just wet yourself, you are that's the ultimate definition of disposable income, is it not?
I'm going through these models. Here are these, and they've got that look, that model Blue Steel from Zoolander. They've got that look on their face, and you have a big piss stain on your pants.
Yeah, there's no way to look cool.
No, there is zero way to look cool.
So, okay, now that I'm thinking about this.
What's that?
Now that I'm thinking about this more, when I go out, I miss my mouth a lot. So sometimes if I'm drinking a beer, it'll just dribble all the way down. I will always spill on myself. There's not going to be a time where we go out and I don't spill on myself.
What is going on there?
I'm just like I'm messy, whatever.
Yeah.
And so maybe this will help because it will just blend right in. So it's like I don't have to worry about cleaning up my drool stains. It will just blend right in.
You're
I'm a catcher, aren't I?
You're like the guy in the movie Airplane who has a drinking problem. But it's not too much alcohol. It's he literally can't find his mouth with the glass.
I don't know. There's something I always spill or leak or something. So
no, spilling and leaking are not the same thing. No. That's not one or the other. That's two very different situations.
Yeah, that's that. You know what? If I see that person walking down the street, unlike the dog I don't want to be involved in, I feel like I need to pull over and say, "Can I give you a ride to a shelter? Can I get you some help? You know, what can I do for you? There's a mission, a church right down the road. I'd like you to talk to somebody."
If you have that kind of money, if you're laying around and you're thinking $800, like Zep said, instead of just putting water on instead of just doing it yourself, you want to buy for the stained jeans yourself $800. I'm going to assume anybody wearing those jeans that's not a model being paid to wear those jeans is rich.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. They're filthy rich.
Yeah, you're filthy rich.
Although, can I add one thing real quick?
Lay it on me.
I don't know if when the last time you guys peed your pants, if you're old enough to remember that, but I was driving out to Sturgis one year, and it poured. That rain, like we had this weekend, it was one of those, and it was from here all the way to Sturgis. Like, I don't know how many miles, 800 miles of rain, and I was riding it out, and I wasn't going to stop, and yep, I had to pee, and yes, I peed my pants.
Wow.
Riding to Sturgis, and it was cold. You could see your breath, and it felt good. It was warm.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Your bladder emptied, and you were comfortable as you could be again. So if we got rain coming the next couple of days, if you're caught out in the rain, just try it sometime. And then the rain washes it away, of course.
Okay. All right.
Good tip. Thanks.
All right, thanks. Yep. But yeah, I'm not going to pay $800. First of all, I couldn't afford an $800. That's my entire wardrobe for 10 years.
Yeah.
Is $800.
There's a new report that explains exactly what it is to be rich in all 50 states. And what they're defining rich as the top 5% of earners in a state. If you want to be rich, the quickest way to do that is move to West Virginia. Okay?
They're going to say Mexico.
No, that's the lowest threshold as far as if you want to be in the top 5% of all earners. The lowest threshold is West Virginia, which is $329,000 a year.
Oh, I can't even be rich in West Virginia.
That puts you in the top 5% anyway. Connecticut is number one. That's, of course, because everyone living in Connecticut is either commuting to New York or Boston, depending on which part of the state they're in. It's a New York City suburb. $656,000 is what you would have to earn to be in the top 5%. Wow.
Yeah, that's out of reach.
It's so those are the people who are buying pea jeans, I do believe.
Yeah.
For Minnesota, the average income for the top 5% was $476,000. That's a serious slice of pie.
What are they doing for a living?
And that's up 27% in the last 5 years. South Dakota, Zep, your home state. If you want to be in the 5%, let's see, you got to be making $392. So still, it's still a lot of cash.
South Dakota is making $392.
I don't know.
I mean, the big corporate farms, I suppose. But I mean, as a salary, although there is Sioux Falls, because they don't have a state income tax in South Dakota.
Okay.
A lot of businesses started rolling into Sioux Falls as I was growing up. It has tripled in population.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of tech campuses there, so they're probably shelling out the big dough.
That makes sense.
And then there isn't many people in the rest of the state. Sioux Falls is half the population of the state.
Oh, is it really?
Oh, well, not exactly.
Almost,
but close. I mean, it's a big chunk of it, yeah.
That's Tennessee, where I moved here from. Also, no state income tax. And so, the companies coming in there. Tennessee, there was old, shipping train yard money, originally built Nashville.
The old Vanderbilt stuff.
And then, everybody always goes, oh, there's so much money there with the music and the publishing. It's like, that's peanuts. We're talking about trains.
Yeah.
And then healthcare. All the healthcare companies are all based there.
Big dough.
And then now the tech companies are going because it's like, wait, no state income tax, and you're going to give me all the breaks to build a 900-acre campus for Oracle here? Sure, go ahead.
And you're going to attract the workers.
It's going hog wild. That's what people are like. You must miss Nashville. I'm like, no, not at all. It's just a complete feeding frenzy down there. It's way too busy for me. But I'm an old guy. I get to bed early. I don't need to be down on the honky tonks losing my mind like all the kids do every night.
When Rosemary tries to cuddle with you?
Yeah, she doesn't hug. You can't hug Steve.
No, there's a dog in between us. It's not possible. We sleep in the letter H. I'm straight down one side, Rosemary straight down the other, and then the connecting bridge. Chauncey won't lay with us in a parallel line. He has to go perpendicular. That's how that works. But here's something. Okay, so moving on from P jeans and what it takes to feel rich. If you just want to stay around longer, as we've heard, and every few years ago, we were reminded, take the stairs, for God's sakes. Elevators and escalators are not your friend. The study found regularly taking the stairs can lower your risk of an early death by up to 25%.
Yeah.
Health records of 500,000 people, the ones who regularly opt the stairs, far less likely to die young, as they say. And I don't mean like 31 flights, but if it's 1 or 2 flights and you have a staircase versus an elevator, get on those stairs, man. It's the best thing for you.
I agree. I fight the good fight. I still take the stairs almost any time I can. Recently, Maria and I are out of town for the weekend and stay at a hotel, and we're on the 10th floor.
Ooh.
And she's the same way. I always take the stairs. We're like, 10 floors. Yeah. Oh, it's about time. Finally, a workout worthy of us, because we jog up a flight or two of stairs.
Yeah, sure.
I had to stop twice. It turns out 10 floors is that's 2 stops now for me. I got up to about 6, and I'm like, sorry, babe, I'm grabbing my side. I got to take a knee.
We were, Rosemary and I had this conversation literally yesterday about just at home. I bound up the stairs because I left something upstairs, and I'm like, man, I can get on the treadmill at an incline, do whatever, but the heart rate it skyrockets on the stairs. And I've just recently noticed that like way more than it used to, which means I got to get on the Stairmaster again. Like I gotta do something about it. But yeah, just run up like 114 staircase, and I'm like, why is my heart racing? What the hell just happened?
You know, there is this little thing that I found from running stairs in football. You know, they'd always take us out there into the stadium when I got to college anyway, and we had a stadium, and we would run the stairs, and guys would really get gassed out, and the coach would say, you have to breathe. There is a thing when a lot of people run stairs, if it's a short flight of stairs or you're just doing that quick up 1 or 2, they tend to hold their breath.
Oh, I do. Go full anaerobic.
Well, no wonder. Yeah, you're doing a couple of quick flights there, and you're holding your breath, or you're not breathing regularly, and pretty soon you're going to be sucking wind, man.
Man, that's nuts. You know what? You're exactly right. Are you familiar with the name John Jacob Astor IV?
I thought you were going to say John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
John Jacob Astor IV.
Nope.
Famously was the single wealthiest passenger on board the Titanic.
Oh.
He is the businessman. There was a lot of wealthy people. He was the wealthiest member of that on that boat, and he very famously said no thank you to a lifeboat because he said no, women and children, and he said I will stay behind.
He had so much money to live for,
and his wife said, "Yeah, I'm with you. No, we're not gonna get on a lifeboat when there's children when there's not room for kids and other women."
All right, I have heard of this guy. This is.
Well, apparently, at some point, his pocket watch was found.
What?
The watch engraved with the initials JJA was found. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This was not a recent find. His body was recovered several days after the Titanic sank.
All right.
So his body was recovered. The watch was in his pocket. The watch has been completely restored, and then it was returned to his family. And now it has gone up for auction. That's all right. And now it has gone up for auction. That watch, which was on the Titanic, just sold for $1.5 million.
Oh, that doesn't surprise. I mean, Titanic stuff, people go gonzo for that anyway. I mean, if it's
bad luck.
Yeah, if it's a pen or something like that, but you've got a watch of a celebrity. I mean, he's reached celebrity status, certainly, because of his, what he did, that huge, generous move. And like I said, he had so much money to live for.
Man,
but that checks.
At the time, in 1912, he was worth $87 million. That money went a long way in 1912. Not as long as it needed to go for him, but wow, it's just fascinating to me. That watch has been kicking around all those years, and now someone just paid all that money for it. And whereas I just look at my phone when I need to know what time it is. 9:09. See, there you have it. Boom.
I bet if you paid $1 million for a pocket watch, you'd be checking that bad boy all the time, flashing. Or maybe you wouldn't. Depends on what area of town you're in.
Yeah, that's probably
not around here.
Probably true. Probably very true.
I mean, in this studio.
The KQRS on our website, 92KQRS.com, as you may be aware, we had the bestest of Minnesota. Minnesota's bestest, all kinds of things. The votes are in, more votes than we've ever had. Pretty fantastic. And we can share all sorts of results with you. And then, of course, we still have a history lesson to get to. So hang tight, would you?
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, April the 29th. The Minnesota Timberwolves have advanced to the second round of the NBA playoffs. They swept the Phoenix Suns. Last night, big Game 4 win on the road. That's very exciting. They will most certainly, although it's not 100% sure, I'd say it's 99% sure, play the Denver Nuggets in round 2. That's going to be one hell of a series. The winner of that series will go on to the NBA Finals. You can mark that one down right now in permanent ink, if you please. Here's a number for you: $34,576,826,561.47.
Is that how much this radio station is worth?
$34 billion. Yep, $34.5 billion. That's exactly right. No, that's not. That's a man in Pennsylvania named Barry Tangent. That's his tax bill for the year. The IRS has sent him his bill.
Wow.
You've never heard of him. Barry Tangent. Not Elon Musk, not Jeff Bezos, not Warren Buffett. Barry Tangent owes the IRS $34 billion.
You know how I know this is a mistake?
How?
Anyone that would owe $34 billion would be able to hire the accounting firm that would not require them to pay any of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly how that works. No, this man, Barry, got 2 pieces of mail last week from the IRS. One was actually a refund check for $900.
All right,
not $900 million, not
sounds like a
$100,000.
fun weekend.
$900.
Sure.
Nice. All right. And then the second one was a bill saying he owed the state, not the IRS, actually just the state of Pennsylvania, $34 billion.
I was up 900, now I'm down 34 bill.
Yeah. There was a mistake made on his 2022 return, but he did file an amendment. However, somewhere along the way, either the guy that did his taxes for him or the tax system of Pennsylvania, somebody made a mistake.
Yeah.
He was asked to pay $34 billion. The state of Pennsylvania, to their credit, has said, okay, no, you're okay. We understand this is probably a mistake. Barry did want everyone to know, I've never even made $100,000 in 1 year, so owing $34 billion is probably I'm not gonna be able to make that payment anytime soon.
Well, here's Barry right here.
I knew it was an obvious blunder. I don't even make over $100K a year, so there's no way I could owe anything near that. Well, the first thing he said was, you had a good year. And I said, I wish.
Yeah. I would, $34 billion, I get that from the IRS. I chuckle. I laugh. I hang that on the wall. That's a keepsake.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of getting the one that says I owe $5,000.
Yeah. Because
that doesn't seem like a mistake. That would be like, oh, son of a $5,000.
Come on.
$34 billion. I can't wait to call all my friends.
One of the few things about me that I would recommend to anyone else is just accept early in life you're just going to pay taxes. I mean, I have friends who I've known for 30, 40 years, and they get wound up every year. And from the minute I first had that explained to me, somebody must have planted that seed and said, hey, you can bitch about it, but why? It's just the whole thing.
Just won't bitch about the weather.
Yeah, death taxes and the whatever, the fill in the blank. It just doesn't wind me up. I mean, I would love to not. Of course, but early on, and I'm talking about like at some point, the first time I paid taxes, I got a refund or whatever it was, but I don't know, somewhere along the line of all the things that do really chap my ass, as they say, the tax thing, I just accepted it. It's like, hey, if I actually am not getting a refund, if I have to pay taxes, I'm just going to focus on the fact that I had a good year.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not a billionaire, because that's how I think.
Just being a good old W-2 employee, I always make sure that if they have to take out a little extra Because, I like to kid myself. It's sort of like getting overtaxed here in Minnesota. We have a $1.2 billion surplus. People don't say, oh, God, they overcharged us $1.2 billion. They're like, oh, we've got a lot of money. We can build some bridges and fill in some potholes. And I like to fool myself in a similar way. I'm like, I get back $800. Look at me handling my finances.
If you're looking for some more money, there is a bit of a gold rush happening right now. It's not the 1849 all head to San Francisco and chase gold rush. We're not panhandling in streams and creeks. However, if you're willing to go to Antarctica, to the South Pole down there, tucked in among all the glaciers, there are several active volcanoes. There's one called Mount Erebus. And it's the southernmost active volcano on Earth. And this bad boy is blasting stuff on a regular basis. Mount Erebus, there was a ship a long time ago. No one cares about this. Who cares? Who knows why? Who went down there in the 1800s? Crazy people did. But now the Mount Erebus Volcano Observatory is saying that this bad boy is blasting little tiny lava flake that has gold within it. It regularly pumps out gas and steam, and occasionally it ejects boulders. They're known as volcanic bombs. They're bursts of gas that spray tiny crystals of metallic gold. And they're saying there's about 80 grams a day coming out of this volcano. That's about $6,000 every day at least, blasting out of this volcano. So if you find yourself on your way to Antarctica, just pick up some detection traces. Figure out how to get those trace materials. $6,000 a day in gold if you can stomach the weather.
They got penguins down there, don't they?
They sure do. Gold, and they literally crap gold.
Yeah, and that's about all they've got down there. Penguins, and of course, volcanoes spewing gold. Who cares if you end up looking like an exhibit at Pompeii? Like an ashen statue. You'll be glittering like gold. That's a hard way to get it. Maybe let me know when the volcano is dormant, and then we'll get a little expedition together, and we'll go down there and pull some gold together.
A man in Alabama, he's studying forestry. He's from the country of Ghana, but he is attending Auburn University, and he's getting his master's in forestry. He has set a world record, okay? It's a world record for how many trees you can hug in an hour. Here's what you have to do. Wrap both of your arms around each tree in a close embrace without causing any damage to the trees. And no trees can be hugged more than once. So you've got to have a few people on there making sure you keep moving through the forest. So my man went to the Tuskegee National Forest, and in 1 hour, anybody want to take a guess at how many trees he was able to hug? How many different trees in 1 hour? All
right, I'm going to go by second one to take 5 seconds. Let's average it out. I'm going to say 500.
500. Candace?
501.
Try 1,123.
Did he damage any of them?
Apparently
what hubris to think that you're going to hug a tree and you're going to damage it. It's been standing out there in the forest for how many decades? I hugged it too hard.
I wonder if any of the trees were crabby when he started that.
I hope he got ticks. What are you doing out there hugging trees?
Check this out. Here's a quote from the gentleman. Not being able to drink water throughout the attempt poses a significant challenge, especially given the physical exertion required. However, this proved to be helpful in a way, as there was no need to pause for water breaks, allowing me to continue the almost uninterrupted from start to finish.
You've done nothing.
He averaged 19 trees per minute, easily surpassing the minimum requirement of 700 to establish the record.
You've done nothing.
You've done nothing. I mean, it's we can all make fun of figurative tree huggers.
Yeah.
It's way more fun to make fun of a literal tree hugger. What the hell's wrong with this?
I would watch this video. I'd watch this
you would
time
watch him hug all 1,000
if it was sped up.
Do you think? Did he do it with clothes on? Was this?
He was clothed.
This a fetish?
Oh, never mind.
It's not
then.
a fetish.
I've seen a still photo. He is clothed.
Where is that knot hole? Oh, that sap. That's nice and warm. If you walk
that reminds me of the old honeymoon joke. I'll just get right to the punchline. I was checking for bees. Sorry. Moving on.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, here's a good one.
Yeah.
There's a woman that American Airlines keeps making a problem with. She flies on American a good bit. Recently flying from Chicago to Marquette, Michigan. Her name is Patricia. She doesn't want her surname shared. Every time she gets on a plane on American Airlines, they assume that she is an infant, a baby, or a toddler.
All right.
It's because she was born in 1922, and for some reason, their system insists she was born in 2022. This woman is 101 years old, and every time she shows up at the airport, the American people think the American Airlines folks are expecting a baby. No.
She was Y2K'd way before there was a Y2K.
That's what I was saying. Like, didn't we fix all this like 24 years ago?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's too big of a gap for your modern day computer, I guess.
The build up to Y2K was so... It was giving. I even paused and thought, what if this actually happened? What if all the banking and all the internet technology? What if everything shuts down on Y2K? And then, of course, nothing happened. In fact, I don't even know if I made it to midnight that night to find out.
Oh, no, we ended up going out to the middle of Montana way back then because we're like, well, if all the computers go out, what better place to be in Montana? Yeah, because they would see us city people and eat us immediately. We would be easy prey for them. I don't know what we thought. We just kind of really did it for a party. Mm-hmm. And all I remember at midnight in Y2K is I was about half passed out, and I looked over at my buddy and I went, dude, I think I'm really drunk, but are those cowboys naked on those horses?
Oh, boy.
And it turns out in Red Lodge, Montana, at midnight on New Year's Eve every year, a bunch of cowboys ride through town naked.
That's pretty good.
I wasn't that drunk, but all the computers stayed on. But do you guys remember? Oh, Candace, obviously you don't. But Steve, I don't know if you remember if you were in front of a television. You said you might not have been awake, but they did the countdowns. I don't know which network it was, but it went 10, 9, 8, and then the TV screen went blank.
Oh, no, I didn't remember that.
that even. I was like a kid.
Yeah,
I remember staying up. My parents let me stay up.
Yep.
See the end of the world.
That was our first New Year's Eve. Rosemary was with child, and so we were not out. We were not drinking. She drank some sort of like sparkling grape juice, and I, being a hell of a guy, drank it right alongside her.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we had friends in town. Now I'm remembering it. Government Mule, that band Government Mule was playing in Atlanta. It was 1999 to 2000 New Year's. We didn't go to the show. We had friends staying with us overnight who were at the gig. They came in late. We were already long asleep. But a little bit of sparkling grape juice, and woke up in the morning and it seemed like the world was still intact as far as I knew.
Yeah, it was. It was much ado about nothing.
That's what it seemed to be. Did not have any problems with those guests. They said they were going to come in for one night. They stayed one night and left the way a good guest is supposed to do.
Isn't that nice?
We were talking earlier in the show about when people crash. Like, hey, man, can I crash for a couple days? And I think what we determined is it's best to get it all legally binding contracts. Get it in writing. Turn yourself into a hotel chain and make sure that these people will leave when you want them to. Zepp shared the story of a buddy going through a divorce, coming in for a few nights, and it turned into, what'd you say, 6 months?
It wasn't even he didn't tell us about the divorce part. He was coming into town to take a job, and the family would be following him later, so life was intact. There was no reason for us to believe he would be there any longer than he had to be. He had a wife and 2 children in tow that needed to get in the new house, but then when he was there after a week or two, he revealed that actually I'm going through a divorce, and I'm on the outs with the missus, and and I'm looking for a place to crash. And so that lasted 6 long months. And very nearly brought our young marriage to an end.
Sure. But, I don't doubt that at all.
I was in at the time. And then I got kind of wrapped up in it too a little bit. But it ended up with me moving him out, putting his stuff out onto this 3-season porch we had, and changing the locks. And I never talked to him again after that.
Oh, you betcha.
Yeah, that was, he just took it to the mat. Went with the squatter.
He pushed it, don't you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I just dropping Minnesota-isms? Yes, I am. KQRS's bestest of Minnesota. The poll results are in. You guys all voted. We all voted, as did our listeners. We had more votes by far than any year before. The KQRS website, 92KQRS.com, had the vote for the bestest of Minnesota. The bestest Minnesota-ism. Here were your 5 options. Oop.
Yeah.
You betcha. Oofta.
Oofta.
I'm just going to squeeze right by you. And don't you know? Anybody want to take a guess at what won the poll?
All right. Candace is going to go with Ope, so I'm going to go with You Betcha.
Yeah, You Betcha. You got it. You Betcha. I would have gone with Ope as well. But
although squeeze right by you, I'm not a Minnesotan by native. I've lived most of my adult years in Minnesota, but let me squeeze right by you. I use that every stinking day. I was just in Lund's yesterday, and I'm like, "Oop, can I just sneak past? Can I just sneak by here a little bit?" And there was no reason to say it. You know, there was. No. I had plenty of room, but I'm just getting close enough to you. I just want to let you know I'm here.
Sure.
If you don't mind, if I could just sneak right past you.
Let me just. Oops, don't move.
Don't move. No, you're good.
All right. Here's one I did not realize. Okay, bestest TV show set in Minnesota. Your 5 candidates were The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah.
Fargo. Coach, Mary Tyler Moore, and your winner, which I literally had no idea was based in Minnesota, Little House on the Prairie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
How did I not know that?
Oh yeah.
I've seen that show a million times.
Oh, my gosh. You got to just drive out towards the farm, head west on 14, and you're going to go through 7. It turns out there's about 5 towns that claim Laura Ingalls Wilder, the home of, but they bounced around a lot.
You're going to be getting a call from my mom later.
Walnut Grove. Yeah, there's Walnut Grove. And what's the other one? Not St. Peter.
Well, okay, a couple things to remember. One, I'm a dude. I wasn't watching Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
Especially once The White Shadow premiered across at the same time, Monday nights at 8 Central or 7 Central. But I did babysit at that time, and sometimes I'd be babysitting the next-door neighbor girls, and they'd be like, we're watching Little House, and I'd be like, no, we're watching White Shadow. And then they would cry, and then we'd watch Little House.
Yes.
And then within 5 minutes, I'd be like, God, that Nellie's such a bitch. And, you know, so I remember enough about the show.
Yeah.
But I did not realize it was in Minnesota, so that's exciting.
Oh yeah, that was the show that that was Mom's show.
Yep, because
Walton's
you know why?
And Little House on the Prairie.
Because of Papa had it going on.
Oh yeah, Mom had the Michael Landon thing. I think I talked about that last week. We were talking about the wedding, the bed, and hanging the sheets out. The after school special with Michael Landon.
That's a man.
Yeah, she was big on Michael Landon.
We were talking, we talked all about, wow, we've had several Landon conversations lately. I didn't realize he was ever going to factor into my life, but here we are talking about him yet again. Bestest dog park. Chauncey just perked up. The Minnehaha Dog Park is your winner over Battle Creek, Murphy, Hanrahan, Bassett Creek, and Crowhasset Park Reserve. Not been to any of these. Haven't been to a single dog park in the Twin Cities or the surrounding area.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, no, there's some amazing dog parks out there. I'm trying to think of the one that wasn't listed, but yeah. I don't know which one I ended up voting on there, but yeah, there's, the dog parks around here are...
We just leash him up and walk him. You know, Chauncey lost some dog park rights during COVID. So, there was a time when all of a sudden there was no going out for a little bit, right? Yeah. And it was at the perfect time in his life, apparently, where he was feeling, okay, I'm a full-on grown adult male dog now. I'm starting to be a little territorial, starting to be a little standoffish, and then I'm going to go 6-8 months without seeing another dog.
Yeah.
Bad timing for us, because when we went back to a dog park, he was looking for trouble. This sweet Chauncey Gorman that we all know and love here at KQ, he turned out to be the douchebag dog at the dog park.
Oh, yeah.
And not just once, but twice. We had 2 times, took him back in. And these are people that he's known his whole life. They're like, Chauncey!
Yeah.
And he's happy to see the people, but then he would look around and see a big dog and think, I think that dog needs for me to tackle him. And he would just got really aggressive. And so we had to say, hey, dude, that ain't cool. And then since we got to the Twin Cities, the last thing I want to do is, hit a new town with a dog that I don't fully trust. And so we haven't even given it a shot.
Yeah, I think, and people get fairly protective here, because we took the little Tasmanian devil Aussie, Australian Aussie out to a couple of dog parks, probably a little before, because we like to take him out to the off leash and just let him just get it out of his system. But yeah, he got a little aggressive a couple of times. That's not a cool feeling.
No,
nobody wants that.
God,
and then of course you go back to that dog park, and people are grabbing their dogs and picking them up and jumping up on benches. And it's like, all right, calm down.
I like to go to
everyone.
dog parks without Gigi and just
that's weird.
hang out with all the dogs.
Yeah, there's the old movie. One of the guys from the Kids in the Hall directed a movie movie, I believe, called Dog Park back in the day. All about the dog park scene in L.A., the single scene that is the dog park world in L.A.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't go to dog parks yet. Gigi, no.
No.
They have the ones
try
for the
to
little
start
dogs.
a fight. Doesn't matter. She will get herself into trouble. She's not going to attack any dogs, but she will try to start a fight and then won't be able to finish it.
Look at you two with your antisocial dogs.
Yeah, it was. And Chauncey was always the prince of the park. He was everybody's best friend, and then something happened. He lost his social graces, and like I said,
see how that might happen.
He's fine. I mean, we see dogs on the street now, and he's always on leash and he sniffs. There's not been a dust up, but I just. There's two things that I've experienced that I just can't shake. One is when my dog was the jerk dog. Terrible moment, because I've been judging other dog owners my whole adult life because I always had the great, well-behaved, trained dogs, and then suddenly it's my dog. He went after an Irish Wolfhound. He took down. He walked into the prison yard and said, "I'm going to throw a punch at the biggest dude on the cell block." So that part was cool, but it wasn't a fun moment. That was second only to the worst thing I've ever felt, which is when at a Six Flags, I took my 6-year-old daughter on a roller coaster she was nowhere near prepared for.
Dads do that. That's our thing.
And we walked off. I was carrying her. She was balled up in my arms, head buried in my shoulder. And as you're going down the exit of the roller coaster, where it spills back out into the park.
Look, kids, there goes the worst dad in the world.
Yeah, everybody in the circle, everybody there looking at me going like, what kind of idiot takes a little girl like that on that roller coaster? The guy who swears to this day, I looked at the website ahead of time, and it was on the family-friendly list, but it wasn't. Damn it. Boy, that felt bad.
You like to think that toughens them up, right?
Let me step off my high horse and be the man everyone makes fun of for the rest of the day.
That's not a scar. That toughens them up. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But you were being judged harshly.
Oh, I walked right into it. I deserved it. Finally, one last thing I want to talk about on the bestest list.
Yep.
And I'm sorry. This is my feathers are ruffled, and I'm just going to take exception here.
All right.
Bestest local tribute band. Sabotage did not win.
Oh, no!
I voted 4 times.
I voted 40 times.
40?
I voted 4 times, and twice was for Sabotage.
Damn. It's cool. It's cool. You got to like Sabbath to like Sabotage, first of all. And second of all, we haven't really been on the scene now.
That's
whatever.
Yeah, you just need more exposure. You got to get out there.
Tons of tribute bands in this city. They're amazing.
You got to. That's it. Tribute bands in this town. Of course, I haven't lived in a lot of big cities, but I would put the strength of the tribute band scene here in Minneapolis, St. Paul up against any major metro market, even Nashville. I mean, because they probably don't do a lot of tribute bands in Nashville, but no, the scene here is strong, and you've got to earn it. You're right. You guys are brand spanking new in the tribute band scene.
Well, your winner was Expedition, the Journey Sticks Kansas Foreigner tribute band. They cover all 4 corners of that particular universe. Over Rough House, ELNO, Wicked Garden, and the aforementioned Sabotage. I had your back, Candace. I'm sorry.
Didn't we have them up at Cragen's last year?
We sure did.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah, they are great. You know what, though? So go to 92kqrs.com. Check out all the winners. And again, thank you to everyone who voted. We had a huge amount of votes, far and away the most we've ever had. So that is awesome. Many, many, many thanks for that. Let's look back. On this day in 2007, the world was reminded that the Oakland Raiders are always the Oakland Raiders. They're the Vegas Raiders now. But when they were still the Oakland Raiders, and what did they do on this day in 2007 to draw the aspersions from everyone else? They gave Randy Moss to the New England Patriots for a 4th-round draft pick. You took the best wide receiver of his generation, arguably of all time, and handed him to Tom Brady for a 4th-round draft pick?
Yeah.
What the hell are you thinking? Of course, Randy Moss then went to New England and broke the single-season touchdown receptions record with 23. The New England Patriots won all 16 regular season games and absolutely should have won the Super Bowl that year. The Giants upset is still one of the most mind-boggling things I've ever seen. Randy Moss broke Jerry Rice's single-season touchdown record. On the final regular season game, he had not 1 but 2 touchdowns. And the media had been in his grill all year long. And he earned it. I mean, led himself into catching a lot of flack over the years. But after the final game, Randy Moss said, I don't think breaking Jerry Rice's record is that special. Shutting you guys up is what made it special. All the negativity, all my critics. Don't ever change, Randy.
Nope, never.
All the great ones, when they're so great they can't be stopped, they have to create new enemies at all turns. And like so many great athletes, his was the media, and God bless him for it.
And he always got his revenge.
He certainly did.
Always got the last word.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.